Earth Debate Uncut and After Show. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are premiering, and there's also a PayPal, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Speaking of Patreons, I'm going to do a quick shout out to all of you who do support me on Patreon. So a massive shout out of thanks and appreciation to Giuseppe Montesano, Trying to Triangle, Mitch Kennedy, Original D-Rose, Rod, The Name's Burley, Twodwazzle, Jason Hornsby, Christoph Fournier, Flamboyant Telescope, JMels24, Unimento, M Iron26, Endless Flat Earth Sage, Goldie McKiernan, Retro Bill, More Books, Cannabear, Bogey, Michael Kahn, John Kays, Patrick Gunnels, Banter, Mel B. Styles, Hairy Blade, Mobile Max 777, Rob W, Reese Pound, Del West Watson, Maria Nealands, Unbelievable Productions, Blue Ridge Ranger, The Real Gabster, Abraham Mohammed, Skeptic 936, Life is Short, Texas Mike, David Wayne Foster, and Dank. So another massive thank you to all of you for supporting me on Patreon. Now I will hand over to whoever is in Discord and Google so you can enjoy their dulcet tones while I set up for today's live show.
And now I notice I take naps too during the day at one point. Not always, but it's nice to take a nap. Usually after lunch. Nice meal, nice nap.
After lunch, that would be a siesta.
Oh, what's it? Is that an extra long nap?
No, that's just a one of the things the Latin people do after lunchtime. They have a siesta. They take a break.
I was just gonna say something like that. I worked with guys from Dominican Republic, and after lunch, they would just lay down and sleep for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're that.
Yes. Something like half an hour to 45 minutes, yeah.
Mad Dogs and Englishmen. Only mad dogs and Englishmen go out in the midday sun. Now, for an Englishman, the midday sun doesn't mean a great deal. Yes, okay, the sun's the highest. Okay, but beyond that, who cares? However, when I was in Portugal, I may have told this story before, but oh well. I stopped in the hotel that a Bond movie was filmed in. Really big white building with a really beautiful pool. It was a lovely hotel. Anyway, I got up usual time, maybe 6 or 7 o'clock, started doing my day's work. By about 9 or 10 o'clock, I want to go out to, I don't know, buy cigarettes, whatever it is I wanted to go out for. I don't actually remember what it is I wanted to go out for. But I went out, and almost immediately after leaving the lobby, I was struggling to see. And then after about 10 or 15 yards walk down the street, I was completely blind. I could no longer see at all. So I had to memorize or try and visualize what I'd just walked past, which was a long wall, thank God, and nudge my way back up to that wall and then sidestep my way back to the hotel lobby. And then once I was in the hotel lobby, which was a little bit less bright, wait for 2 or 3 minutes so I could just about open my eyes enough to find somewhere to cower in the corner and wait till my vision came back, which took about 20 minutes. And then work my way back up to my room to go, that's presumably why there is literally nobody around at all. 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, place is heaving. There's people out eating and they're all doing stuff in the cool air. But 10, 11, 12, nobody around, deserted in the brightest and nicest of what you would think is the nicest of weather. But it isn't.
So you couldn't see because of the brightness?
Yeah, it was so. I was told that when I got there. I can't remember who it was that told me. One of the distributors I think I was with, or someone like that, explained to me that the hotel we were in was used for a Bond movie, and I'm like, any particular reason other than it? Obviously, it's just a nice hotel on the beach. But other than that, why? And they were like, well, because of the location, because of the light. I'm like, okay. They're like, it's really bright here, isn't it? I'm like, yeah, okay, I see where you're going at. Yeah, okay, the building's really well lit because it's so bright. But you don't think, well, that's so bright it could potentially leave you not being able to see anything and finding your way back along a wall with your hands. You know, I didn't even know that was possible until it happened to me. literally temporarily blinded by the sun. So when they say don't look at the sun, I think that's probably what they mean.
Is that where they got that song from? Blinded by the light.
Yeah, REO Speedwagon gave you a warning.
REO Speedwagon are a bit before
Speedwagon?
they're 70s,
No,
so they're a
that
bit
was-
before my time.
That was Manfred Mann. And actually it was Bruce Springsteen that wrote that song.
Anyway,
That's the one where they get
Yeah.
the lyrics confused. Everybody thought he was saying wrapped up like a douche.
okay.
Revved up like a douche. Doots.
What are the
Still
words
doesn't
anyway?
really make
What-
sense.
Do you know the actual words?
Yeah, when you look up the lyrics and you find the actual words.
Right, should we take bets on
I
whether or
didn't
not the
like-
show will fail halfway through? What do you reckon the odds
It
are?
will not fail.
You
It
don't think
not
it will?
fail. No. I was
Okay.
gonna say I don't like looking up the lyrics to songs because I noticed they kind of ruin the song. Sometimes the way I hear it is better.
Oh, really? One of the first things I do when I hear a song I like, one of the first things I do is look at the lyrics.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, typically I'm in a scenario where I can actually hear the lyrics clear enough. If not, I'll just rewind them. I do it with my eldest daughter, not so much the youngest, because she's only not quite old enough to understand what lyrics mean. But there's a Pink album that we just got, I say just, maybe 6 months ago. And the first song on the album, Tell You When I Get There, I think is the title of the song. And my eldest daughter loves the song. She just thinks it's a beautiful song. So I'm like, okay, well, do you know what the song's about? She's like, no. Okay, so I said, okay, well, that's what I do with songs. Let's do that. Let's go through it and listen to what she's actually singing about. Right, now, when you listen to the song, it's a really sad song. It's about a partner or husband that she's lost, and she's imagining what it would be like for him in heaven, and asking about whether or not he's looking down on her and what she's doing and the mistakes she's making. And she's saying, obviously, she can't know, but she'll tell him when she gets there. That's the title of the song and the general gist of it. But as you can probably imagine just from my description, it's incredibly heart-wrenching. It's a very sad song, which gives it, in my opinion, more impact as a song. It makes it more meaningful. It gives it a better sense of scale. Not musically, obviously, it doesn't alter the sense of scale in the musical sense, but in terms of the impact of the song, it adds to it. So that's what I was trying to illustrate to my daughter. Vaguely remember doing it with my wife, actually, when we first got together. I think it was Bruno Mars. Don't know if she's earwigging. She's in the kitchen behind me at the moment. But I remember going through the lyrics of Bruno Mars' Grenade. You ever heard that song?
No.
I
I
think
would
so.
catch a grenade for you.
Yeah.
Well, that song is about a guy who has fallen in love with a narcissist woman who doesn't care about him. And what he's basically singing about is how he'll do anything for her. And it makes no difference because she's not interested in him. So it gets more and more extreme to the point, as the title suggests, where he'll blow himself up, catch a grenade for you. When you actually listen to what the lyrics mean in that song, very catchy pop song, don't get me wrong, it's great, well written, all the rest of it. But the lyrics, for me, are where you hide quite a lot of stuff in plain sight in songs. There's a lot of deep. Most songs are depressing. When you actually, even the upbeat pop ones are often so depressing. Like Hey Ya. You ever heard Hey Ya? Hey Ya, Hey Ya. You know that? Is it by?
Yeah, what's it about?
If I give you a bit of the lyrics, shake it like a Polaroid picture. Shake it, shake it, shake it. You know what I mean? Look up. I'm not going to tell you. I'm going to leave this one to you guys to look up, because that's such an upbeat and sound so fun. It's about shaking your ass and dancing, right? No.
Yep.
Go and look at the lyrics of that song. I'm not going to tell you what it's about. You can probably tell by me smiling that there's a lot to it.
Well, the one I was talking about is revved up like a deuce, another runner in the night. Let
You
me look
know,
up the lyrics for that song.
the one time I did want to look up the lyrics to a song and I couldn't find them, this was back in the 90s, was Nirvana Nevermind album. It didn't have the lyrics in the cover, whatever majig inside. They only had part of the lyrics, right? Throughout for like the whole songs or something in there. Because it was so hard to make out what that guy was saying, right? Kurt Cobain was saying in his
Through the
songs.
years, through the 50,000 years.
I didn't think about it like that.
If you ever look at Nirvana lyrics, it's just the word "yeah" about 1,000 times.
Never thought about it like that.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, great lyrics.
Mm.
No, that's not the only lyrics.
I realise that.
Come on. When the
I can
light's
see
out,
his
it's less
point, though.
dangerous. Speaks for itself. I wasn't a big Nirvana fan anyway. I was more to Pearl Jam. So the song, hey, is it Hayya?
I think it's Heyya. I'm just going to look it up for you.
Hayya?
Yeah, Outcast. Heyya, Heyya, exclamation mark.
Good morning, guys.
Oh,
Yo, I know
Outcast.
that
Yeah, Outcast
Morning.
was
you're so off tune, dude. Just don't sing, please, bro. You're brilliant, but just don't sing, dude.
oh, Nathan?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Nathan
like
could
when
carry
Nathan
a
sings.
note.
I think he's fine.
Me?
Hold on. If he
So
tried,
off
he could
tune.
carry a note. He's trained in freaking acting.
Well,
You gotta
kind
be
of.
able
That's
to
where I
carry
stepped
a
out.
tune.
I changed courses when they did musical theatre. I was like, no, I'm not doing
Yeah,
it.
I can tell by
So I changed courses from.
Oh, wait, so you never learned then?
good for
No,
you, bro. That
no,
was
I
a
refused
smart
to.
move.
So they were like, "You're going to do musical theatre for the next exercise." I'm like, "I want to change courses. I want to do technical theatre, which is like sound and lighting and that sort of stuff." So I didn't do it. So when it came to them all prancing around and singing it, I'm like, "This course is gay enough as it is. No, I'm not doing it. I'll film it and record it."
My sister-in-law sings like an angel. She's got an operatic voice, so she got everything. She's trained in everything.
That was one of the
Like I
reasons.
never knew. I never
Sorry.
knew your tongue had to remain at the bottom of your mouth when you sing. How is that even possible?
The thing is, right, on the course that I was on, everybody on the course, just to get onto the course, you had to be able to sing in tune. So there wasn't a person on the course that couldn't sing in tune. I mean, the technical guys, they didn't ever have to sing, so it didn't matter. But I'm talking about the performers. Everybody could sing in tune. However, everybody with the odd exception was average, me included. Just average, just can sing in tune. Okay. But there was one of the girls I went out with called Gemma, who was an exceptional singer. Like, it didn't matter what she was singing or where she was singing it, what the setting was, the moment she opened a gob, the hairs on the back of your neck stood up. Now that is worthy of somebody going and looking at that on a stage, in my opinion. Me, no. I didn't particularly enjoy watching all of the rest of my co-students belting out stuff very averagely. Yeah, it was in tune, but it was very average in my humble opinion. But like I say, the odd, there was another girl, Jackie, I think her name was, and she also had an exceptional, she was Scottish and had a very husky voice, unusual, but technically very, very good. And same with Gemma. And there was a couple of others that could really belt them out, just grab your attention instantaneously the moment they started singing. And that I like listening to, a good singer, especially female. Like I say, my wife likes Pink, so that's in the car, and I quite enjoy listening to Pink also. She's a good singer.
She's a tough singer. I like Pink.
Yeah, I like Pink.
She'll kick your ass, man, if you mess around.
I'll just read you one verse from Hey Ya. You think you got it, oh, you think you got it. But got it, just don't get it till there's nothing at all. We get together, oh, we get together, but separate's always better when there's feelings involved. If what they say is nothing is forever, then what makes love the exception? So why, oh why, oh why, oh why, are we so in denial when we are not happy here? Now, given that that is somebody singing about not being together, being apart, being better, when you hear the song, it is so different to how those lyrics play out when you just read them. It gets worse and all. Anyway.
Yeah, pretty depressing, huh?
You know who's a good singer when you wouldn't expect her to be?
Who, sorry? Say again?
You know who's a good singer and you wouldn't expect her really to be?
Go on.
Brie Larson, the actress.
Brie Larson?
Yeah, she
She's
sang
the one that faked the
Black Sheep
tattoos?
in
Yes, I think she is.
Scott Pilgrim versus the World, and she killed it.
Yeah, maybe. I'll have a listen. But I suspect that she's probably average and can just sing in
What-
tune.
Yeah, one of the people from your college courses, probably.
Exactly. Yeah, most actors can sing. Obviously, there's people that can't, that successful actors, but for the most part, they've been trained. They can sing.
Yeah, like what's his name in the movie A Star Is Born? I think he was singing in that movie, but is he really a singer?
Being a really good singer doesn't necessarily mean you'll be successful, and likewise, being an average singer can yield massive amounts of success. Like Britney Spears, average singer. Christina Aguilera, on the other hand, exceptional singer.
Yeah, she could belt it out.
Yeah,
For me,
Houston now.
for females,
one
I
of
have,
the greatest
I have a
of all
top three. Sorry, Nathan.
Sorry, Neil.
I'm sorry, both of you. I'm sorry.
Now, to me, you're not going to compare to Judy Garland. What's her name from the 70s? Oh, geez, I can't. Linda Ronstadt
Ron San.
and Barbara Streisand.
Ronson.
Linda Ronstadt. However you pronounce it in England, we pronounce it Ronstadt here. She was a powerhouse. Barbara Streisand. And you could have a toss-up between Streisand and Whitney Houston.
Right, so Wind Beneath My Wings was like a karaoke song that girl I went out with called Gemma. I actually got engaged to her. Anyway, that was one of her. Right, I'm gonna win this karaoke competition with a set piece that everybody in the audience would love, and it was that Barbara Streisand song "Wind Beneath My Wings," which is quite hard to sing. But
that's actually Bette Midler.
Oh, is it Bette Midler? Sorry, my bad. Yeah, you're right. It is Bette Midler. Sorry.
And I forgot her. She's good too, though. She was in a movie called The Rose. Outstanding.
Yeah, I think that's what that song is in also. I think Wind Beneath My Wings is in that movie.
No, Wind Beneath My Wings is the one with Barbara Hershey where she's dying of cancer.
Oh, okay. Whatever.
I forgot the name of the movie.
In any event. But in the same way that if you can picture Bette Midler belting that out, that's the standard that I'm saying is good. That's a high standard.
Yeah, Bette Midler had chops. I don't know if she still has them, but yes.
Right, but what I'm saying is when someone can sing like that, you don't mind parting. Today it would be $50 to $100 to go and see them do that.
Well, who's the main girl from England now? The one that what's her name?
Adele.
Adele.
Yeah, Adele is an exceptionally good singer.
Right. But see, her problem was I'm gonna tell you the truth. She came out with the best song first. How the hell are you gonna top that?
Which song was her first song? Rolling in the Deep.
Yeah, like to me, you still can't top that.
I don't think that was her first song.
It wasn't. It was the other one, Waterfalls.
That wasn't her first song.
It was
I think it's
before that,
Daydreamer.
but
I'm
she
gonna
was
look it
new.
up. I think Adele's first release was Daydreamer, and she did it on Who's the Guy That Talks Like This and Runs a Music Show? And now Adele on stage. What's that guy's name?
Sounds like James D. Kirk.
Yeah, it's a bit like James D. Kirk.
I thought he sounded like Kirk there.
Who's the guy who runs that? Jules Holland. There it is. She was like 14 or something on Jules Holland, and I think she was doing Daydreamer. I think that was her first ever song.
Yeah, but she was still early in her career when she came out with that masterpiece.
Chasing Pavements. It could be in that. I don't know.
Chasing
It doesn't seem to
Pavements,
tell me on
yeah.
the wiki page which was her first, but anyway. I think it was Daydreamer. Not that this really
Right,
matters. Hello, Adam, by the way.
Hi, mate.
Nothing but music and movies and
How about Queen of the
stage.
Soul, Aretha Franklin?
Different type of music now. Yes.
True, true.
About movies, really
Definitely
quickly.
considered one of the greatest of all time.
About movies, really quickly. I want to say this because somebody's wrong on the internet. You know, sometimes you just want to correct somebody. The Abyss by James Cameron, 1989. That had CGI.
Yes, that's true.
So there, yeah.
We still majoring on that
Anyways.
minor, eh?
Yeah. Anyways, we can go
Into
back
the
to
Abyss,
music again.
that's Slayer.
What's that?
Into the Abyss, that's Slayer.
No, just The Abyss. The movie
Oh,
about an
okay.
underwater expedition that has an alien entity taking over sections of water so it can form shapes, and the shapes that it
I know the
forms are done
movie.
in CGI.
I seen
there was
that.
another one,
If I'm
too.
correct, am I correct that the one of the main actresses in that movie was the one that was in Scarface? She played the Gina girl. Gina.
I don't know. But what about Tron? Is Tron also CGI, isn't it? I mean, very basic CGI, but CGI nonetheless.
Did you guys
And then-
notice that Matthew was here this morning and now again? He keeps popping in and out. Did anybody talk to him?
Who?
Matthew Learns. He was literally in chat when I came in. Then he left. Now again, he came back in and he popped out.
Well, he can do what he wants.
I know, but did he talk to anybody?
No, not that I know of.
Okay. Just
This
wondering
is what
what his
happens
plan.
when your religion is falling to the ground.
I just wonder what his plan is for today. Maybe he wants to be part of the show. Maybe he wants to apologize for his
Or
behavior.
double down.
Lies.
According to Google, the first CGI in a feature film was Westworld in 1973, with its gunslinger robot vision in 2D.
Nice. I was correct. That's the actress's name is Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio. She was in The Abyss and Scarface. Gina, what are you talking?
And he stepped away for 10 seconds, come back to total silence. Has it all gone wrong? Has it all gone tits up?
No, everybody's still
No,
here.
I'm just eating.
Why are you so confident my computer won't fall over, Righteous? Have you been talking to God?
Well, the Lord said, choose blessings or cursings, death or life, right? Therefore, I choose the blessing, and the blessing would be your computer going right.
Okay. I'm going to choose the blessing too. Seems appropriate in that context, which is why I asked you at that moment. Because the computer is called the Beast. That's actually the name of the computer.
Yeah, I
it's like
heard that.
Monster
that one day.
Labo
I was like,
Beast.
it's just a name.
I know, but it's been,
Really?
just like taming a beast, if I'm honest.
So now when it's appropriate, it's just a name. Interesting.
If nothing else, the thing I'm really pleased about in this regard was Paul did originally tell me, he's like, I want to buy one of these computers, but so I see how you get on. You can be my test bed. So you benefit because you get a really nice computer that you could definitely not afford. I benefit because you get to be my trial run for it, which is a horrendous cost to pay. I mean, I'm sure that was just his justification, but ultimately he was just being generous. My point being that he did actually order one, right? Now, when he did, he got in touch with me and said, this is the spec I'm ordering. And I stopped him. I was like, don't buy a 7850X or whatever it is. That's not a good chip for the machine. Just buy the 7800X3D instead. Because I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to stuff. I have recently been keeping up to date with computer technology, just because it's an interesting change that's going on at the moment. But as a result, as a direct result, just one alteration in his order will mean that he will have a much, much better experience with it than I have. So while he's spec'd a chip that's like 90 watts, I think, and if you really push it, it might draw 120 watts. Not that I've seen it in anybody's use of it. You think, well, this computer passively will cope with about 110, 120 watts, completely passive, no fans at all. So if the chip's only rated to 120 watts, which it is for the 7800, coincidentally the best chip they make anyway, even though it's not the most expensive, he'll have a great time with it. He won't have to do any faff. He'll just chick the chip in, slap it on the cooler, and it'll just work without any bother. By contrast, me with a 250 watt chip, it can cope with 110 passively. I can stretch that to 135 with fans, but not 250. You know what I mean? So there's going to be problems. But in a way, it's nice to know that having experienced those, I can just literally, by saying to him, one change in your spec will make your life much, much easier. Kind of does make me happy. Like, in the meantime, yes, I've had an 8-month faff, but you got to remember, I've had a show running for 8 months. It's not like there's been massive interruptions to the show. There's been massive interruptions to my life. But I'd rather that was the way around. Sometimes you have to make sacrifices and work 10 times harder than some people who are much more privileged in the algorithm and might make one video a month and make a living from YouTube. Lucky old them. Me, I've still got to pump out 2 or 3 shows a day, daily, to just scrape by. So that's how it is, and I've managed to do that with the assistance of this computer. And given that it's such a good computer, it will last, because it is a high spec, probably for 5 to 8 years, like the last one did, before needing a few upgrades. Now, that being the case, once it is tamed, that's it, right? It'll just sit on the shelf, being quiet, and running the show daily without any fuss, hopefully. And yeah, I think after the last 48 hours of really meticulously making tiny adjustments, refining the settings, and then running a live show. So I'll refine one setting a little bit, then run the show and see if it works or not. And then doing the next setting, refining it, seeing if the show runs. Refining it, oh, it's crashed. Well, that setting I just changed will go back to the original, or up or down, or whatever which way I've gone. And then next setting and refine it again. And just keep going around that loop. I've done that for basically 2.5 days now. So when you say I'm hoping it will just work, or the blessings are what I'll take, Well, I'll take the 48 straight hours of really hard work and about 14 hours of non-stop live shows that I did 2 days ago, to put my confidence as I start stuttering because I haven't got any confidence. Anyway.
So did you just nicely say that you were Paul's guinea pig?
He did tell me that. He was like, I want to buy one and I want you to be able to trial it and you can tell me how you get on. So yeah, I was his guinea pig, but that don't demean somebody's generosity when they've dumped $5,000 on something. That's, I'm sure there's easier ways of figuring out what best spec you can have on your Monster Labo PC than just buying someone one. I don't think that was his overriding intention because I was reluctant to accept his huge amount of generosity. So, he's trying to subtly convince me, well, it'll help me out because then you can, trial the one I want. I think he was, that's just an excuse because he wants me to accept his kindness.
Yep. I think you hit it right in the head.
But also, it's nice that because he did actually say that, it's nice to be able to say, don't put the 7950X3D in, put the 7800X3D in because it'll work better. And it's cheaper.
Yeah, I think that he gets a bad rap because he did a nice thing and it seems like it became worse.
No good deed goes unpunished.
Sometimes I feel bad for when the computer's crashing. The guy did a great thing.
Yeah, but it's not his fault, is it?
No, not at all.
Far from it.
Yeah, we got to look at it this way. Like if I did something for somebody and I find out, oh my God, they just have a headache on top of headache. I wish I would have never did that.
Sure. I mean, it's one of those I wanted to do more. So I've started putting nice, pretty pictures on in the form of either Minecraft or Fortnite because it's visually interesting. Why have I done that? Well, because when I've been watching all sorts of different other subjects in unrelated fields, often, and I do mean often, other videographers do that. They just have game footage behind whatever they're talking about. Because there's been a few commenters that have said this as well. Use this, that, and the other person's video because it's visually stunning, rather than just you verbally going through the arguments. It's like, it's a talk show. What you want? We are going to verbally go through them. And my slideshow that's up now with this guy screaming, that's all well and good. Once you've watched it once, it's never going to be interesting again. But if I slap up a game, it'll work beautifully. As long as the computer's working, obviously. But that aside, I mean, I want to do that so that I can, as I did today, when I edit the video together and it's got something interesting going on screen, that just keeps people's attention. People are like that. Me included. I'm more inclined to watch something when there's something that I can just zone out but let my eyeballs take in. Like somebody wandering around in a game. You don't really pay any attention. You don't really care what's going to happen to the character in the game. It's just something on screen that's moving around.
Yeah, I like when all your other pictures come up too.
Plus, I don't know if this is true for every dad, but I enjoy watching my daughter play Minecraft because she's got a 6-year-old mentality and imagination, something that I will never have again. So to see it is quite wonderful. So having that in the background, I'd just build the same mansion that I've dreamt of since I was a kid, and that would be it. And then I'd have nothing to do in that game. But for my daughter, she's like, yeah, I'm gonna build an underwater axolotl tank. Okay, off you go. Great. And like I say, that looks really cool. One of the discussions we pulled out from a discussion about dating, again, totally off topic in one of the after shows. But while that was being discussed, she's building an underwater axolotl tank. So it's just something visually interesting while that discussion's going on. And if it had all the stuff that's on screen now with geometric horizons, somebody came along randomly to a video that isn't about flat Earth or the nature of reality or globe Earth debunking, and just the algorithm happens to deliver them that video, they're not going to want to see the slides that we have typically on screen. But if it's just some random game footage, they'll just sit and listen along to, talks of alpha chads.
I got it. That's pretty cool. Last night I walked in and my son is slaying the punching bag with his sword. I get it.
Okay. Is that a euphemism for masturbation?
I don't know. It's a 13-year-old mind. He's in there with his full gear attacking. Well, he's not using a sword because he'll destroy the bag, but he's using a plastic lightsaber. And I'm watching him do all of these moves on, of course, a bag that can't strike him back, but it is charming.
Well, power to him. So long as he goes to some groups, he'll probably meet his wife there. Then you can get rid of him.
I'd rather build extension on. I'd rather get a house and build a nice extension and keep my boys close.
Why?
I don't know. Maybe it's because I don't want to freaking feel lonely. Who knows?
You put all that work and effort in for the joyous day that they bugger off.
Yeah, bugger off, get a girl. Well, I'm not going to have it unless I somehow strike it rich. But I would build an extension and have land and have them close.
Get him to assist you building the extension. Then he'll get buff. Make sure he's got a good education. Then he won't be a Dumbo. And then once you've built your extension, he's gone through his education and finished it and done well, get him to get a job. And then your work is done, Neil.
I know, but then their work is just beginning. Then they got to take care of me.
Therapy?
I said, then they have to take care of me.
Do they?
Yes. It's written in a contract.
I don't think it is. I don't think you've got that right there, Neil.
I have my own contract. Like my son knows, my oldest son knows. If there's ever a time when my wits are not there with some, say, Alzheimer's, you know what to do, right? And he knows what to do, and he has to honor that.
It's well, it's not funny. I'll just say it's funny you said that because I'm going through a lot of family issues at the moment. My mum's got dementia. She's been sectioned, and my dad's having a hard time with it all, which is obvious. But I was just speaking to my dad about an hour ago, and we was talking about my mum and the way she is at the moment, and he just said to me, "If I ever get like that, do not let me stay like that. Give me a pill or just get rid of me." That's what he just told me about an hour ago. I said, "Well, all right, yeah. I just said I would, but I don't know how I'm going to do it."
Yeah, but it's true for,
Well,
true for almost every
sorry
way.
you have to go through that.
Yeah, but you say those things, but no matter which way you die, it's going to be some major organ, in this case the brain, deteriorating to the point of having no use anymore, being functionally not working or not working properly. But that is just how you die. It's either your brain or your lungs or whatever, your spleen, your kidneys, your liver. Something starts to fail.
I have it written on paper, and he signed it. I will not have myself in that state. He will put one right in the coconut, and that's it.
Yeah, I don't know if you'd feel that way, even if you had dementia. Anyway, this is very depressing.
Well, just to change the subject, the globe claims the sun appears to move across the sky at 15 degrees per hour, don't they?
I mean, well, I
Because
don't
of
know about
Earth's
it
spin.
being a globe claim. It does do that.
Right. So I was thinking, I don't know why. I was just thinking about the 15 degrees per hour. Is that telling us then that the sun is moving at a constant speed? If
Hard
that's
to
the
ascribe.
case.
Well, no. If it was a baller saying that, I'd accuse them of physical assumption bias. When you describe it having a speed, it implies that there's some sort of physicality to it, because it's its rate that it travels in distance over time, right? Okay, but what is it? Before we start ascribing it an actual travelled distance, which you can do, right? It moves. You can track the GP
Sorry,
position.
Nathan, sorry to be rude.
Go on.
I got cut off. Then I had to jump back in. I missed everything you said.
I'm just saying we don't know what it is. So to say it is, let's pigeonhole it as being a physical item that's moving at a specific rate over time, a specific set distance over time, so we can work out, quote, how fast it's moving. I don't know what it is. So that seems like a step too far at this stage.
I was just thinking, because we say 15 degrees, it's 15 degrees per hour, not stating that it's doing that. Then, if you're saying something's moving or altering its position 15 degrees per hour, that's making a claim, isn't it? Really?
Not if you, but no, not really, because it's demonstrable in the fact that you can see it doing that. So yeah, I suppose if you had never seen the sun, then if somebody posed that to you, you'd be like, well, there's a positive claim you've got to back. Okay, well, let's go out and have a look at it. And then that's it backed, isn't it? But in terms of the speed, which is what you're really asking about, maybe Adam can answer. You know, in terms of the GP of the sun is trackable over the land. So how quickly it moves from one point to the other, you could ascribe a distance for the apparent position in terms of where it moves over the land at that point for the person measuring it when the sun's at their zenith versus someone else at a different location at a different distance or a distance away, and when it reaches their zenith. Well, obviously you've got all the information there to infer that it's got a certain speed. But like I said, I don't like that because I don't know what it is. In the same way as if I tilt a torch through an angle and the light whizzes across my room, am I going to start ascribing it a miles per hour speed? I mean, apparently it is moving at a given rate, so I could do that, but it just seems wrong.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Yeah, but like you say, it was just in my mind. Well, the reason I was thinking of, about a speculation about the sun's movement. We've all had speculations, and this, the speculation of it changing, when it goes to the outer southern ring and then back into the Capricorn and back through to Cancer. I've always sort of thought, not speculated, sorry, that it must, if it's doing that, it must change its speed because it's got an outer larger circle in it. Sorry?
That would be the logical conclusion if you take those concentric circles through the tropics. As you go from Cancer
I disagree. I really wish I hadn't asked Adam to pipe up. No, I totally disagree. So in my room example, Adam, if the wall's closest to me, I'm in the middle of a room, but the room's very long. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If I put a torch on a turntable that's specifically spinning at a set rate, so it's a fixed rate, depending on how close or far the wall is that the light the torch is producing is hitting, will vastly alter how quickly it appears to move across that surface.
Is that not physicality assumption bias?
No. I'm saying a torch light in a physical example I can actually demonstrate. In an enclosed environment, depending on how near or far the boundary is to the light, when it's projected onto that boundary, will vary with how far the source is to the projected light. Same with the size of the light itself. Now, obviously, that doesn't bode well for my example with the sun. But ultimately speaking, there's going to be an alteration in the rate that it moves, depending on how far away the projected light is from the source. A further away, hopefully I get this the right way around, as it gets further away, it's going to move quicker. And as it gets closer to you on a closer surface, it's going to move slower.
But you're not tracking it on the surface, you're tracking it in the sky.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. If we're going to talk about the sun's speed, it would be the rate that it moves in the sky as opposed to the rate that we can track its GP position. All you can say is what you're actually doing. How fast does the sun move from this zenith position to that zenith position 100 miles away? But that's all you're doing. How fast does it move overhead, as opposed to how fast does it move?
Yeah. The point I was making was the different.
Hold on, one deck. Go on, Adam.
Sorry.
The point I was putting one deck with really was that whatever those paths are, we see that they have a different placement in the sky each day and throughout the year as the sun traverses between the tropics. Now, if we think of that from a celestial navigation point of view, then those circles are getting bigger than smaller. Now, to do that and maintain 15 degrees per hour, as you go onto a smaller circuit, you need to slow down to maintain 15 degrees per hour. And as you head away from the equator, you need to speed up because your circuit is slightly longer to maintain 15 degrees per hour.
15 degrees per hour, yeah. Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking about. And I thought, well, 15 degrees an hour is sort of suggesting a constant speed. But if I was speculating on how it actually moves, then that might sort of not fit in with that. I was just thinking out loud, guys, like you do.
Now we are joined by Adam, Neil, and a whole bunch of people in Discord. So welcome, one and all.
Adam and Neil, that's it?
Yeah, that's it today. 10th is still MIA.
We'll have to have a union meeting.
Well, 10th's disappeared, and I don't know why. Is there any word on where 10th's disappeared to? No? Normally you'd tell us if he was going to disappear for a few days, but slightly concerned. Hey-ho. That said...
Well, it all happened after that guy came in, and Ryan accused him of pestering him.
I asked him, good trip, and he said, yeah, so far, lots of laughs and memories. So he's okay. We just don't know where he's okay at.
Okay. Oh, fair enough.
Well, 10th might not be here, but Matthew Learns is in, I think.
Oh, really? Hello, Matthew.
Hello.
Have they fired you yet?
They have not. No.
Oh, jolly good. I'm sure you're elated. Anyway, let's do a bit of housekeeping questions. Any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge? That's a horizon formerly known as Earth curvature.
Negative.
Out to
No,
Russ.
I don't think they've ever been able to measure drop over distance of that curve to show us how it's done, who's done it, and what measuring tool was used to measure the drop over distance. Don't think it's ever been done whatsoever. So there's no evidence for that. No.
Shout out to Russ Bonanno. Am I saying this right? Bonanno. Bonanno. Hopefully I've said your name right. Thank you very much for the super chat, Russ. Really appreciate your support. It says, appreciate all you're doing, Nathan. Learning more and more every day. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. That's the super chat. Support this channel.
But don't they claim that the horizon is where the Earth curve starts?
Well, they did until 2020. It's now a massive problem for
No, they
them.
still do now.
Yeah, but we just laugh at them. That's why we have an ongoing jape with Ruhif. How's that geometric horizon working out for you? What's that? Refracted? You'll struggle to correct angles from it then, won't you? Speaking of which, any evidence you can acquire an elevation angle measurement from a curved baseline?
What say you, Matthew?
You could use the 90 degrees from Plum instead.
And where it
So
meets
not
the ground position, would that be 90 degrees also?
Yes, it would.
So that's flat Earth then. Did you hear me?
Yes, you're talking about if you're using triangles for celestial navigation?
Triangulation. So 90 degrees at the GP of the star, and you're saying you can get the angle from Plum 90 degrees at your position. So
Right.
90 degrees at your position and 90 degrees at the ground position of the star. Second time's the charm. That's a flat Earth, Matthew.
If the direction of down is the same, I contend that I don't think it is the same.
So you would suggest that a baseline has different directions of down along a straight flat line. Are you insane?
Along a straight flat line, if you assume a straight flat line, then they wouldn't.
What, like
but
with a
I'm not
triangle and that?
assuming
Would you say that when we're doing triangulation with flat baselines, we're not assuming straight lines? We're assuming different directions of down along straight flat baselines, are we? Are you insane? Second time.
No, trilateral.
So you appreciate then that straight flat baselines with 90 degrees at your position and 90 degrees at the ground position, potentially thousands of miles away of a star, is a flat Earth then, Matthew, third time. Not different directions of down along a straight flat baseline. That's the third time for that one.
If you assume a flat Earth, then the baseline is flat.
So are we not assuming a flat Earth when we measure 90 degrees to the ground position? There's no assumption. It's 90 degrees, that's flat. No assumption needed.
If the direction of down is parallel, then if you make that assumption, then it would be flat.
So what assumption? It's a straight line with 90 degrees to you and 90 degrees at the base of the star. What assumption are you making? It has to be that. It has to be flat.
Your assumption of saying straight line.
My bad.
As soon as you say straight line.
And why would we suggest that between us and thousands of miles away at the ground position isn't flat?
By assuming the globe, then you would assume it's not.
Well, when we don't do that insanity, we can't use a globe, can we? Because we wouldn't have 90 degrees at the ground position of the star, would we?
That's right. You wouldn't. If you assume the globe, you don't have.
Fourth time, Matthew. Not possible on a globe, then. Definitely a flat Earth, then, Matthew. No assumptions, just factually measuring the ground position with a straight flat line. No assuming there's different downs along a straight line. I mean, downs might be a good word to describe you in that regard. But ultimately, we're not using different downs on a straight line that's got 90 at each end of it. So that's a fifth time. Flat Earth, then, Matthew. Ground positions, you're on the ground. Star position on the ground, 90 between the two, sixth time. That's a flat Earth, then.
Of course, if you're doing it that way.
Stutter for me, Matthew. Of course, it is a flat Earth we will be measuring and navigating, correct?
If you're doing a triangle navigation like that, then
we are. So we are doing triangle navigation like that, so it is a flat Earth we are dealing with then, isn't it, Matthew? 7 attempts. 7 attempts, ladies and gentlemen. Bit of stuttering. If we're doing it like that, we are. So that's a flat Earth then, 8 times.
I concede that if you do a celestial navigation with 90-degree triangles, that the only way for that to work would be if the Earth is flat and you know the elevation of the star.
Welcome to Flat Earth from an educator. The only way to do triangulation, which is navigating the Earth, potentially saving your life, is to do it flat on a flat Earth. Thank you, Matthew. That's correct. Earth is measured and navigated flat.
He said if you know
that's not what I said. Celestial navigation doesn't use triangles.
Sorry, triangulation doesn't use triangles? I'll ask you again, why are you teaching children?
They're not children, they're most...
So why are you suggesting that triangulation doesn't use triangles, you stupid idiot?
I thought you were talking about triangles that...
What, triangulation triangles? Like in navigation that proves a flat Earth triangles? Yeah, we are.
The circle of equal altitude.
That would be a flat Earth. So an area that's a massive circle that's of equal elevation, definitely not curving away from you at 8 inches per mile squared. Is that what we're talking about just before we go further?
Right.
So we are now going to be discussing areas of equal elevation used in navigation. That's flat Earth areas without drop, like on a globe, just to be clear.
Right.
Right, so that would require a flat Earth then, Matthew, before we go forward talking about these areas of equal elevation. This is a flat Earth we will be discussing then. No drop.
Right, to do those kinds of calculations...
Just slower. That's right, Nathan. This will be a flat Earth I am now going to discuss because it's an area of equal elevation, not falling away at 8 inches per mile squared. This is a flat Earth, then, that you will be discussing with us. I just need a yes, that's correct. This is a flat Earth required situation. That's what I need.
Right. For that kind of calculations, you definitely need a flat Earth.
Well, we do those calculations, and we are navigating using these 90s, aren't we?
I don't think so, but...
You don't think celestial navigation uses flat baselines? You think that in celestial navigation, the ground baseline's falling away because there's different downs along the flat line with 90s on it? Again, I'll ask for the 4th time. Are you insane? Why are you teaching children?
Because I'm smart.
Sorry, you think triangulation doesn't have triangles in it, correct?
If you're talking about finding your...
just a no or a yes will do.
No.
No, there aren't triangles in triangulation. Or yes, there are. Which one is it?
Trilateralization, which was what...
Sorry, were we talking about trilateration or triangulation? Did you need a subject change there, Matthew? You seem to be a bit weaselly and a bit slippery. Again, I question why you should be teaching children. I've given you the question several times. I didn't ask about trilateration, did I?
No.
So, do you, as you have stated, this is now the 5th time I've asked you, believe, because you are insane, that triangulation doesn't have triangles a part of it?
Triangulation uses triangles.
So why in unholy hell did you declare otherwise and suggest that it wouldn't, or that we'd have different directions of down along a triangle? Why would you do such insanity?
Because when you do celestial navigation, assuming a globe, you do trilateralization and you don't use triangles.
Okay, when you do triangulation assuming a globe, how do you get a horizontal baseline from a curved adjacent?
You just can't. There's no such thing.
You just can't? Sorry, so when you say triangulation on a globe, you can't get a horizontal baseline. For the 90s you discussed earlier, on a globe, you can't do that on a globe, correct?
You can't. That's right, you can't.
That's right, you can't. So, again, we'd need a flat Earth for this then, wouldn't we, Matthew?
To do the calculations the way you're describing with using...
I'm not describing anything. This is celestial navigation. Don't try and pin this on me like it's a claim I'm making. This has saved people's lives, Matthew. It's not Nathan's celestial navigation. It's just celestial navigation. Thank you. So we'll need a flat Earth for it, though, won't we, Matthew? Because we can't do it. We can't get a baseline with the 90s you described from a curved adjacent. That would be a curved baseline. That would be a globe Earth. You said triangulation on a globe. I ask you where you get a baseline for the 90s you described. Answer, we can't. Conclusion, try again, 2nd time. We'd need a flat Earth then, wouldn't we, Matthew?
We would need a flat Earth to do triangulation for celestial navigation with...
Boom! Earth is flat. Many lives have been saved by triangulating positions with respect to the stars and their ground positions 90 degrees along a flat Earth to your position. So Earth is flat, as confirmed by Matthew Learns. That's
no,
how it's, that is how it is navigated. It's like the guy yesterday who has to talk through the conclusion. You're not in charge here, Matthew, I am. That means shut up at the point that you confirm that we need a flat Earth to do this. I then summarise your conclusion that we will require a flat Earth for the 90s along the flat baseline to the ground position of the stars. Flat Earth required. Now, you're about to start talking about areas of equal elevation. Again, flat Earth required. What were you going to, pray tell, about areas of equal elevation, I wonder?
Yeah, so you can shoot a star and figure out from the charts how far away the ground position is. That's what you do to find out how far away you are from that ground position. And that doesn't require triangles. Just finding
sorry, the ground position with 90 degrees along the line to you on the ground. That's not along a flat baseline anymore. Why would that be?
Because I'm assuming a globe instead.
Right. So, but for the fact that you are measuring 90 degrees that you've already confessed you couldn't do on a globe, you are still assuming a globe that doesn't work with this. Nurse, just cart him away and have him fired immediately, because in spite of the logical inconsistency of requiring 90 degrees to the ground position of a star, he's still saying that, oh no, I'm not doing it flat. You are factually doing it flat, Matthew, because I'm assuming a globe on top of the fact it's measured flat. Well, that makes you stupid and insane and not worthy of educating anybody. That's stupid, Matthew. If you're measuring it flat with 90 on the ground to your position, it factually isn't a sphere that you're assuming. Are you stupid?
No, I'm not stupid.
Why are you assuming something that is factually being measured flat, and you've affirmed that several times? Why would you assume you're doing it globe-shaped when you can't, and have confirmed that also?
No, and so that's a good question.
You're damn skippy it is. It's because you're insane. You can't do it on a globe, you stupid idiot.
Right.
Right! So why do you educate your children about how Earth is sphere-shaped when it's navigated flat?
There are two different ways to do celestial navigation.
No, there's only one. You require a flat baseline and 90 degrees to the stars. I asked you how you'd get 90 on a curved baseline, the adjacent being curved, and you said it wasn't possible. There aren't two ways of doing it, there's one. It starts with an angle off a baseline, 90 degree at your position and the star. That's a flat Earth. You have already confirmed this. That is how celestial navigation is done. Facts. Nobody assumes there's different directions of down along baselines unless they're medically insane, as you must be.
Yeah, my assumption that the Earth is...
We don't give a shit about your stupid, insane religious assumptions. It's measured flat, Matthew. Don't tell us about what you assume. We don't do that here. Didn't you get the memo? We don't beg the question on flat Earth debate. Stop doing it. Just talk about what we actually measure. Not what you assume when you're taking 90s to ground positions on a flat Earth. Don't tell us about your assumptions. I'm not interested in your religion that you peddle to children. So it's measured flat then?
I feel like he's realising the Earth is flat, but he's having a hard time admitting it to himself.
Yeah. While he's trying to figure out why the hell he's telling me about how flat it's measured, but yet his assumption of a globe must take effect, I'm questioning his integrity as an educator and asking for his job as a result of this deceitful behaviour. No, you don't get to just assume your religious belief when you're peddling actual measurements. You'll get told off and I'll appeal for your job to be taken away from you. That's what I will do when you tell me, after telling me how flat it's measured and how equal areas of elevation aren't curving away at 8 inches per mile squared, that you still assume it got a curve to it. Factually hasn't, and you know that. You're telling us that. You know how curved it can't be. You've told us that too, Matthew.
Yeah, I've conceded that the calculations you describe can only happen on a flat Earth.
Calculations, they're measurements, Matthew.
So the measurements is the angle.
Do you want to stop stuttering? Get a grip, man. Aren't you an educator? Do you stutter like this for your children that you say aren't children? The very impressionable youth that you lie to about Earth being a sphere? Stop stuttering and take a browbeating from a flat earther. No, Matthew, you've told us how flat it is, but yet you still insist on your religious faith being peddled in assumptions. Logical inconsistency much? Well, that's not a fallacy, that's a logical fallacy, right, Matthew?
I haven't conceded that it's flat. I've said that it is...
It's measured flat. Then you tried to say it was calculated flat, and I corrected you when I said it was being measured. That's where we're at. Then you started stuttering. Notice how I can keep up with the conversation. So, it's measured flat, isn't it, Matthew?
No.
So when we measure with a sextant the degree, that's not measuring the degree. That's a calculation, is it, with the sextant?
Sextants measure degrees.
So they're measurements then, you stupid lying scum?
Sextants...
Measuring, yes, we know, you just told us. So we are, again, second attempt with a scumbag, measuring it flat then, aren't we, Matthew?
No.
So we're not measuring with a sextant. It's not a measurement, even though you've just confirmed it is a measurement. It's not a measurement again. It's a calculation.
Angles are measurements.
We calculate with sextants when we measure
Are
the
angles
flat Earth. Yeah, I'm just confirming that which you're denying twice after confirming that we do take measurements with sextants of a flat Earth. The one that you want to turn into a calculation and then talk through me while I correct you for the third time. This man's supposed to be an educator. He's having a strip torn off him by me, a flat earther. Scum of the earth, lowest of the low, managing to tear a strip with total justification off a man who's supposed to be educating children. This is why he should be fired. I should not be able to get the better of this man as he tries to weasel in the word calculations for something he has confirmed are measurements. Measurements from sextants, Matthew. Measurements of a flat earth, Matthew.
You're right that sextants...
Yeah, I'm fucking right. Sack him. Why did you just try and lie twice then? Total scum. Total scum. Fire him. Contact his employer. Contact this man's education facility and tell them that's twice live to a live audience that he's lied. Yeah, it is a measurement then, you lying scum. Stop lying to people, Matthew. I don't like you. That's why you're getting shouted at. You're just a liar. Yeah, I know it's a measurement. That's why I had to correct you when you said calculation. Now you're conceding it for the second time. But you've told me no 3 times. No, it's not a measurement of a flat earth. Yeah, it is, Matthew. Yeah? Should be fired. Simple. Scum. Liar. Proven.
Honest.
Here.
You want a response?
I often get that from fundies who haven't got the slightest idea how to respond when I point out that they're a liar with examples live to an audience. 87 people watching. We need 1,000 people watching. This man, he's got 500,000 people that he gets to lie to.
Yeah, so...
Yes, so stop lying to my audience. When I say it's a measurement of a flat earth and you say no, and then we do this little do-si-do with you talking through me, when we get to the point that you concede it is actually a measurement, we'll move on when we get back on track. Yes, Nathan, it is a measurement of a flat earth.
Yes, Nathan, sextants measure angles. It is a measurement of an angle.
On a flat earth. Why are you such a weasel?
But why do you get to add "and" of a flat Earth?
Because we've got 90 degrees to the... Sorry, do you not understand 90 degrees to the ground position? Do you think the ground position means out in space off a ball position? Do you not understand English, Matthew? What do you think ground position means? Does it not mean that we're measuring the ground position?
It does.
So we're talking about the ground then, Matthew? Did the title of the show elude you? Did you forget where you are? Do you need to be medicated? Yes, we're talking about the flat earth debate, Matthew. And we're very much measuring... Oh, do you need to talk through me, Matthew? Would it be better if I didn't rub this in your face, that we're measuring a flat earth? Would it be better if you were talking while I'm highlighting it for the 4th time? Something you've struggled to concede. That measurement that you just can't quite say is of a flat earth. You couldn't quite say it. I had to say it for you. So we'll try again. That's right, Matthew. You described how it measures and what it measures. Ground positions and 90 degrees to your position. On the ground. So when we measure these angles with a sextant, try and stay with me, we are measuring a flat earth, Matthew. 4th attempt with this one. Do you want to try and repeat it back? You're like that student that just can't quite get it and asks, why are you adding on a flat earth? When I've already detailed the 90 in the ground position. Do you want to try again, Matthew? Yes, we are measuring a flat earth. I know it's hard.
Yes, you are measuring a flat earth if you're doing a 90-degree flat baseline to the ground position. The only way that would work is if the earth is flat. And
oh my God. I just want people to note that there is a PayPal link in the info box below the video. There's a super chat. As much support as you want to offer me. That is a man who is a university grade educator. Yeah, notice your stature's being raised now. You've made absolutely explicitly clear that the earth is flat and measured that way, Matthew. Yeah, now you're a university grade education rather than lies to children. Yes, thank you for confirming how earth is measured flat, Matthew. We already knew. You, on the other hand, lie to children by omission when you don't tell them that Earth is measured flat with your sticks and shadows. You'll tell an audience of a shitty little channel that you've got on the side to pump out your lies on that it's measured flat and could also work that way. But by omission, you don't tell the kiddies that. You presumably
Yeah,
don't tell them about the fact we require a flat Earth. You will interrupt me while I'm pointing this out, though. Very rude. Do you allow your students to interrupt you when you're in the middle of pointing out something they didn't understand after you've tried for 4 attempts for them to understand that Earth is measured flat, for them to finally parrot it back? You're just a bit slow, Matthew. Yeah? 4 times I had to get you to do that. 4 times is not very acceptable, Matthew, for this very simple logical consistency about 90s and flat baselines with ground positions. But at the end of it, 4 times a charm, you're asking me why it would be the ground, making you stupid.
I don't think he's getting the elevation angle. He keeps saying angles, but the sextant, it's we've got to be precise. It's measuring an elevation angle. There's a difference.
Yeah.
No, you're right. Yeah, elevation angle. That's correct.
Right, and that would be in reference to the area of equal elevation, wouldn't it, Matthew?
Yeah, so the circle of
I just need a yes. Thank you, Matthew. You're not the
rounded.
one in charge of this discussion. We are. We know more than you. You keep getting things wrong and needing things repeated 4 times and having to be dragged backwards through bushes to concede things you've already conceded, because it means that you've got to confess Earth's flat to do this. Yes. Doesn't mean you need to be talking. You need to be listening, like your students. You are one currently. Our student. Now you understand, because we've taken you by the hand and explained, yes, Earth must be flat to do this. Now we're talking about the areas of equal elevation when you measure elevation angles. And we've already had the concession from you, Matthew. That would also be a flat Earth when we are talking about elevation angles for the Earth, ground positions, and areas of equal elevation. That's a flat Earth in every way, shape, and form, physically and fundamentally impossible if Earth was sphere-shaped.
Right, doing that kind of calculation is fundamentally incompatible.
Measurement, Matthew, measurement. Measurement. Oh my God, he's that slow, slightly retarded student that after being corrected that it's measurements needs to say calculation. Slow, aren't you, Matthew?
Okay,
Do you want to slowly repeat? Don't interrupt me, sunshine. Know who's being educated and who's dumb. That's you, dumb. Not calculations. You've had one deck tell you it's a measurement of an elevation angle with respect to the area of equal elevation that requires a flat Earth and is fundamentally impossible if the ground is curving away. We've already had the concession once. We just need to hear it again, Matthew. You, the student, needs to affirm you understand. The elevation angle measurement, not calculation, is in reference to an area of equal elevation that fundamentally proves Earth is being measured flat. Do you want to just affirm that back to me like a good student of the flat Earth, Matthew? Go ahead.
Yeah, so the measurement, not calculation, the measurement of an elevation angle above a flat Earth assumes a flat Earth, and you the area of equal elevation. Area is a calculation because area is a calculate. You're only getting a angle from a sextant.
Elevation angle.
He's done it again. He's slow. He doesn't quite get the point. No, let me just speak to one deck. One deck, he's thick. So say it really slowly to him and then make him affirm it to you back. Because Matthew's slow. Why the hell this person's educating anybody is beyond me when we have to take multiple attempts to explain basic concepts like measurements versus calculations. No, we're still struggling to get you to understand that we're going to be measuring Earth flat with an elevation angle measurement. We're nearly there with you, Matthew. You're just a bit of a struggle. We'll have a word with your mummy. Tell her you're a bit of a pain in the arse. But in the meantime, we need you to understand this because you're holding the rest of the globe Earth back. Okay, Matthew?
Okay. So I concede that if you're doing triangulation to figure out your distance to the ground position, the measurement of an elevation angle with a flat baseline, 90 degrees to the GP, to the star, using 90 degrees at your position, that is only possible if the Earth is flat, the surface of the Earth is flat.
And is that done, as opposed to only possible? Is that done on Earth?
You can, yeah, using a sextant, you can measure an elevation
Not
angle.
can, is
Now, how
it
you
done? No,
interpret
no,
it-
no, not past tense.
Yes, it is. It is done.
I'll try again. Let's not get it while you're talking through me after changing it to past tense. Notice how sharp I am, Matthew. I noticed that you'd rephrased it to past tense. I'll rephrase my question. Is that done daily by people so they don't die if they get lost, Matthew? Like right now, it could be being potentially done this second by somebody and only possible on a flat Earth to do. Is that done on Earth now?
Yes,
So that's all I
sorry,
need. Thank
measurement.
you, student. So a life-saving exercise in figuring out where the hell you are is done and can only be done to save these people's lives if Earth is flat.
Measurement of elevation angles are done every day by people doing celestial navigation. Yes.
On a flat Earth.
I mean, it also works on a sphere Earth.
Sorry, how
don't
do you
use
get an
triangles.
elevation angle measurement from a curved adjacent?
You don't.
So you don't do this on a globe. They factually measure 90 to the ground position. Is there something wrong with your memory? Is it not like we just went through this 20 minutes ago? Did you forget that you've already told us it's not possible to get an elevation angle measurement from a curved adjacent? That would be a sphere Earth falling away from your position at 8 inches per mile squared would preclude this measurement. It's not possible.
Can't get...
I know it's not. Don't affirm while I'm telling you, the student, what is not possible on a globe. I know. Dumb student with his stupid loud mouth talking when he should be listening. Yes, Matthew, I know it's not possible on a globe. You keep seeming to infer that it is. No, we need 90 degrees to the ground position, and you can't get an elevation angle measurement from a curved adjacent. So no,
Right.
Matthew. It's just your religious belief in a globe getting the better of you over and over again, forcing you to beg that question, because that's not a fallacy, that's a logical fallacy. Right, Matthew? You've got to beg the question, haven't you? You assume Earth's a sphere when measuring it flat. Why? Well, because I can't get an elevation angle measurement from a curved baseline. Well, that wouldn't mean you would assume it's spherical then. When you're measuring it flat, there's no need to assume it's flat. You're measuring it flat. Oh, but it's just a calculation, you weasel. Earth's flat, Matthew. It's measured that way and navigated that way. The fact that it is measured and navigated flat saves lives daily, because this is done daily and, as you affirm, can only be done on a flat plane. Facts. Earth is flat.
I mean, Matthew's basically saying that he's telling us that you can acquire an elevation angle from a curved adjacent.
Then we could have a conversation, but most of this is Nathan educating you, having to tell you the flaws in your understanding with regard to celestial navigation. It's a bit embarrassing, really. I thought you'd be better prepared.
I'm not embarrassed. I think I've been saying things well, so I'm not ashamed of what I've said so far.
You don't have to be ashamed, but it is embarrassing
As well.
for you.
There's no, you can't, can you cite anywhere where they're concerned with the physical height of a star in celestial navigation? Anywhere?
Nowhere. Elijah's right. There's
So then,
absolutely zero.
if I'm right, how could you be speaking well when we're informing you of this and you keep on insisting that the opposite would give you the height of a star? If we're right, why do you keep insisting that?
He's got a religion.
Yeah, I don't think you're right. And showing that you would have to
Well,
have
isn't
the
that a
height.
contradiction? You just said, yeah, you're right.
So he's just going to do it
And
again.
Exactly.
Showing that you would have to have the height. You don't have to have the height. I've already educated him. He's just belligerent.
All he's got is
Matthew, did you not understand me explaining that you don't need the height? You're going to now insist that you do?
I understood. Yeah, I understood what you were saying. You say you do this thing with the 6 times 60 nautical miles and to find the distance to the ground position.
That's not height.
Right. The height.
Right.
The
Stop
height was the
talking.
opposite.
Stop talking. That's right. It's not height. You brought it up, and Adam has just said, yeah, either you're completely ignorant or you think you're being clever when you infer that height has something to do with it and it doesn't. So either you're ignorant or you're trying to be clever and you're not. You're not winning.
Yeah, you're talking about finding the adjacent, the distance to the ground position.
Yeah,
of the
we're
right
trying to
triangle,
navigate.
correct?
Yeah, it's called celestial navigation, not celestial star charting.
Yeah, so the right triangle.
Yes, so we're
you're
only
finding
interested
the
in
adjacent.
navigating on the ground. So, yeah, when you talk about the height of the star, it pisses us off. Can you not tell? Because it's a straw man that you numpties who have a sphere belief who, quote, I'm just assuming it's a globe. Yeah, okay, numpty, we know you've got a religious belief that you must assume. But ultimately, we're measuring Earth and navigating Earth flat. What's that? We need the height of the... We're not doing that, though, are we, Matthew? And now we're here again with you affirming we're not doing that. But you keep bringing it up, thinking you're being clever. You're not. And it's annoying. Meanwhile, we've got precisely everything I need from you. You affirming Earth is measured and navigated flat. It's the only way it can be done. If it wasn't, you wouldn't be getting adjacents because they'd be curved. And there wouldn't be triangles. You wouldn't have 90s. Earth is required to be flat to navigate it. And you've affirmed it in every respect. But then it's, oh, but what about the height? Maybe I can win this straw. It's pathetic.
Yeah, right triangles have perfectly flat adjacent sides. You're right.
Non sequitur.
Sorry, you're asking me if a triangle has flat straight lines. Sorry, Matthew, I'll ask you a question in response. Do curved lines form angles for a triangle?
There are no curved lines in triangles.
So
right.
you just asked me if all triangles have flat baselines. Essentially, that's what you asked. So do you appreciate how fucking irritating it is that you are in front of people educating them, when me, who is considered scum of the earth flat earther, is having to educate you on the fact that when you ask me if you can have a curve to a triangle, how utterly absurd it is that you've got a license to teach? Do you understand how I feel or why I feel that should be stripped from you immediately? Given that you're asking
Yes.
lowest of the low, scum of the earth, flat earther, if a triangle can have a curved line to it.
I was saying it can't. I'm agreeing with you that triangles don't have curved lines.
But Earth must be flat to use them for triangulation then.
Right.
Right. Yeah, Earth must be flat.
Earth must be flat to...
Yes, that's right, Matthew. Welcome to Flat Earth. Earth must be flat to save lives at sea when lost. We know. We prove Earth is flat with this. You also prove Earth is flat with this, Matthew. This will haunt you.
Well, I know
You have no idea what you have done here today, have you?
I know he's trying to be facetious, but again, when I asked you to cite where in celestial navigation they would be trying to obtain the height, you said yes, you're right, and then immediately after said I was wrong. So, seeing as that you're being facetious, again, I ask you, can you cite anywhere in celestial navigation where they're considering the actual physical height of the star, like you keep on suggesting?
So, yeah, I apologize. I didn't mean to be facetious if you took it that way.
No,
So,
no need for an
didn't mean to.
apology, but you obviously think that we've gone awry somewhere. So again, pertaining to the opposite, can you cite anywhere in celestial navigation where they're concerned with the height, the physical height of a star?
They are never concerned with the physical height of the star.
Why'd you keep bringing it up then?
Okay.
The
Why'd you keep?
altitude
It's
of the
just
star.
so it's just a straw man then. We're debating about how Earth is proven flat with celestial navigation. You keep bringing up the height. You said we need the height. Now you've just affirmed it's not needed. It's not referenced. So, but you just keep bringing it up to burn the straw man, right?
I'm not trying to straw man you. I'm saying.
Sorry,
that,
it's not relevant to the
Elijah's
subject.
right.
Sorry, Matthew. Do you understand what a straw man is?
I do.
Explain to us what a straw man is. We'll see whether or not this is one.
Falsely representing your opponent's position in order to knock it down easier.
So, when we're talking about celestial navigation, which specifically and affirmed by you has nothing to do with height, were you to bring up height, it would be a position we're not taking and has no relevance to our position, so you can knock it down.
Yeah, I'm not saying
Yes!
That's your
Shut
argument.
up! What a fuckwit cunt. Yes, that's right. Yes, it is in fact a straw man as I detailed then, Matthew. Yes, you unbelievable fuck. Yeah, you're really getting on my nerves, Matthew. I want you to fuck off before I really lose my temper with you. Yes, you are burning a straw man, and when I ask why you're doing it, why you're burning the straw man, you start defending why you aren't. I actually hate you, Matthew. You're like the worst type of scummy teacher there is. Yeah? A weasel, a shyster, a scumbag. Now get out of my sight. Just leave before I really lose my temper with you. Please leave.
I think that's a very good idea. I've got no desire to speak to you, Matthew. You've come across the most disingenuous, snidey person. The way you've just agreed and disagreed and tried to set up what you thought was some kind of intellectual trap. It's pathetic. It shows the level of intellect you truly have. Yeah. And more importantly, it shows the type of person you are. I've got no desire to talk to you. And fundamentally, one bit of advice, go away, read a book on celestial navigation, because other than demonstrating your flaws in your character today, you've also demonstrated the flaws in your knowledge. Have a good day, mate.
Yeah, you too.
That
Have a
pretty
good
much
day.
sums it up.
Thank you for joining, but your double-speak contradictions and needing to be dragged through a fence has just left me infuriated. You know, and at the point that I'm on my own show live, absolutely furious with you. It's not. It's getting to the point where it's beyond justified. So I'd rather you just disappeared, so I'm not in a position to be ranting at you unjustifiedly, which I'm on the borderline of doing now. Anyway, thank you for coming, Matthew. Before I lose my temper more.
You're going to let people into G Plus now.
Yeah, sorry, Arwin.
Once again, in democracy.
What we were moaning yesterday about standard
thanks. That was a
conversation.
great rant, by the way, Nathan. I get that you needed to focus.
Sod's law. You get a baller that wants to be contradictory and double speaky when you're on the end of a 3-day up till 3 in the morning, constantly up at 7 in the morning, stress testing a PC, doing back-to-back live streams. So I have had the most horrendous of 3 days. So this is a reward, you know, having endless sound bites to trim out of Matthew Learn saying Earth's flat. It's measured that way. That's a reward. The fact that I'm losing my temper is my own fault. You know, I'm too tired. I'm at the point of exhaustion. So, you know, it's no excuse. But there we go.
Mate, I thought that brought it to a head nice. It was a nice summary. Could have gone on forever.
The trouble with Matthew is
another point he cocked up on. Just to he was he was trying to trip us up on and trying to be a smart ass again. Was he kept saying triangulation with your ground distances? It's trilateration, just for his record. But I felt the whole thing was like that. I don't know whether that
Had
was
I not come in, had I not come into Discord because I couldn't get into G Plus, you might have killed him.
I don't know, man. You guys say that he is definitely double speaking, but I barely get any feelings of him. So he feels to be like really robotic, and he's like just stuck in these mutually exclusive positions that he just flips back and forth, and he doesn't feel it. He doesn't feel it. I don't feel any cognitive dissonance stress coming off him. Despite
hypnosis.
it.
It's
of course
hypnosis.
not.
He believes that
Guy's a teacher. He's been hardened to that
Like a
stuff,
robot.
Arwin.
He believes that
What's up,
And
people.
dumbed down rather than, because he's been double speaking all this time, and he just didn't get stressed out or nervous or anything. It's just completely like a
I
robot.
say again, teachers. Have you ever? My dad was a teacher. Yeah, that's how they are. You got to be. You get hardened to it.
What's up,
But
John?
he believes if he holds the celestial sphere fixed and then rotates the flat plane, that's a sphere. Earth is a sphere if he does that. But that's where he was at.
He just never learns, does he?
Good
morning, guys.
I'd like to read. I'd like to quote Zanuck twice. So at 10:13, you don't need a horizontal. All you need is a vertical to the surface and measure the angle to the stars as the co-altitude angle. This gives you the distance traveled for any change in angle. No horizon needed. No horizontal needed. Okay, and then at 10:51, he says, yes, the bubble creates the bubble from an aviator sextant. The bubble creates a horizontal and subsequently a vertical by default.
He said no horizontal needed, and he said no horizon needed. In a mariner's sextant, what's that one mirror called? I forgot the name of it.
Vertical mirror.
Zenith mirror.
Not the
The
zenith
horizon
mirror. No, not the
Oh.
zenith. What's it really called?
The horizon.
The horizon mirror. So don't need a horizon, don't need horizontal. He's conceded bubble sextant establishes horizontal. All right. Mariner
Yeah.
sextant uses the horizon.
Look, even an aviator sextant also uses the horizon. Look at this. A sight of the natural horizon may also be obtained. To sight using the natural horizon, you move the horizon lever, which places the horizon prism into the optical path. So,
What is the definition of vertical before we let him walk away with that?
perpendicular to horizontal. Oh,
Or 90 degrees to the ground would work, because he mentioned vertical to the ground in his own description.
Right, I'm really
well, in
sorry
order
to do
to
this
have
to you guys.
a
I'm so
90
sorry. One take.
degree,
I'm just going to do some shout outs. Quick shout out to Jardo. It says Matthew, triangle means 3 angles. Angle means 2 straight lines meeting at a vertex. Where in trigonometry is there a bent line unless you assume it from the outset? Thank you very much for the super chat, Jardo. Really appreciate the support. Also, Gene, thank you for the super chat. Don't give up, Matthew. Hold strong. Lol. Thank you for the super chat. Also, Jardo again. Take a breath and read your chat. Oh, there's some guy looking to get into G+. So everyone's noting what's going on in my own hangout. Yeah, I'm totally frazzled. I can only concentrate on one thing at a time. Took all my energy to discuss it with Matthew. No, I wasn't paying attention to the show. Could have all ended and collapsed for all I know. Anyway, thank God it didn't. Shout out. Thank you, Jardo, for the super chat. Also, shout out to High Score Boy, who's become a member and doesn't seem to have sent me a message. Shout out to Jardo, who gifted 5 memberships. I don't know who picked them up because I wasn't paying attention. And then again, gifted another 5 memberships. Again, shout out to Jardo. Really appreciate all of the support. Thank you very much for all of the super chats and gifted memberships. Sorry to interrupt, guys.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I was
Good
gonna
morning,
say
everybody.
90 degrees. What's up, chocolate? 90
What up,
degrees
bro?
off of a horizontal plane. You don't just have 90. You don't have 90 degrees without it, because it's 90 degrees of what?
Right. But in Zanuck's description of a vertical to the ground, he invoked a flat plane, even when he said he didn't need it.
Mm-hmm.
To Matthew's credit, he has stuck around, by the way. Look, guys, although I told him to bugger off, I have now calmed down, and he has stuck around. So, just so you know. If you do want to talk about it, you're not doing the horrible talk behind his back thing. He is still here, just so you know.
I want to
What's up,
ask
Matt?
him if I can. Like, does he have any feelings, or is he just really good at holding it back about the situation? Or is he like, no, it is no issue whatsoever? I mean, you don't have to uphold that thing necessarily, right?
I give you guys permission to talk behind my back anytime. I don't mind. As far as my feelings go, because I think I'm right. It doesn't bother me too much if I encounter this kind of like
How do you think you're right?
Neil,
Wait,
please.
Just let him
you think
finish.
you're right?
Neil,
Yeah, separate
Sorry,
question.
continue.
That's a different topic. I'm just saying because I'm fairly confident in what I believe. It doesn't bother me to encounter opposition to those ideas.
I told you he's under hypnosis.
Wow. So while in the middle of conceding all of Nathan's points, you still think you're right. You think that's somehow normal?
Can you justify that as a matter of fact? Like justify being wrong as far as the points are concerned, trying to straw man us with triangulation and being concerned with the height, the physical height of a star. Seeing is that you agree that that's not what's being done in celestial navigation. And seeing is that, you know, the angle is a right triangle formed by you, the GP, and the angular relationship to the star justifies saying that you're right.
Because I was trying to be careful to say that that kind of calculation that you described with the right triangle and
No. That's not a calculation. It's a measurement. An angle is a measurement, not a calculation. So justify how you're correct.
you're right. Just the raw angle is a measurement. As soon as you put it in a triangle, then it becomes a calculation. And I was saying that kind of calculation is not possible on a globe.
Well, the
So
measurement is not possible on a globe.
Well, a measurement is just a measurement. It doesn't, using a
No,
sex.
the measurement concerning the angle to a star and its GP has nothing to do with calculation at that
Right,
point.
right, right,
And the thing is, if you have a GP that's curved away from you, you don't have 90 degrees.
right. Yeah, sextants just measure angles, and that's it. You get a number. It's 50 degrees or something.
the elevation
Yeah,
angles.
so then why'd you bring it up then?
Elevation angles off the area of equal elevation that you're going to be measuring. It's an elevation
Here we go
angle.
again.
Elevation angle.
so justify being correct then.
So because I think you have to put calculations in there somewhere. At some point, you have to do a calculation.
Yeah. And the
So-
Yeah, but
calculations,
justify being
okay, but those are done with respect to a flat baseline you established when you made the first measurement, and all of the measurements thereafter utilize that flat baseline that you measured when you measured an elevation angle.
So once
Matthew,
you
a
just start
measurement isn't a
describing a
measurement.
certain calculation, calculations require some kind of assumption about
Try this again.
the shape of the Earth.
Elevation angle measurement.
Yeah, it doesn't require the shape of the earth. Can you justify that? Because flat's not a shape.
Could I just
So
give
if
you
you're just
guys
going to
the
get 50
definition of
degrees, you take out your sextant, you look at the star and say 50 degrees. Okay, good. As long as you do that,
50 degrees
that's
off
just
what?
a measurement.
No, that's two lines. What's the first line?
One line is from you to the star. One line is horizontal, which you could define as the horizon, or you could say 90 degrees from a plumb line, or however you want to define that.
Where we
So
started.
those two lines.
It's where we started. So that's a flat Earth.
At that point, you just have two lines and an angle between them.
Sorry, a baseline for the 90 degree at the bottom of it on the ground position. Yeah. To establish this ground position for navigation on the ground, we're navigating the ground. We're saving our lives on the ground. And we're doing a measurement and establishing first a horizontal baseline. That is a flat Earth measurement. We've already done this 3 times, Matthew.
You're right. That is a flat line that you're measuring the angle between two perfectly straight flat lines.
Yeah, for the ground position.
Matthew, may I ask, do you think the celestial sphere is held fixed and you rotate the flat plane?
No. I'm not 100% sure I understand your question, but like rotating the flat plane, I don't know anybody who thinks that's what's happening.
You rotate the angle from where you measure on the flat plane where it intersects your sphere, I guess you would have to say, before you would accept it. So the flat plane where it intersects your sphere, that's what's actually rotating, and the celestial sphere is held fixed, right?
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes. Yeah.
Right, but in reality, we're just taking an angle to a star along a flat baseline. We're not transposing the angle we measure along a flat Earth, the flat Earth baseline, the measurement. We're not taking that to the centre of hell in the middle of a core of an Earth that's then surplus to requirements when you measure out from that flat plane equatorial in nature to the stars through a sphere Earth that's surplus to requirements. The sphere Earth is entirely redundant when you transpose the angle you measured off a flat Earth to hell.
So Nathan, I heard you watched through my response video recently. Was that how long ago was that?
3 days, 4 days, something like that.
I'll go through and watch it. So yeah, I appreciate you featuring that on the show again.
Why didn't you put it on your main channel?
My main channel is mainly people looking for prank videos and that type of stuff. So I try to like not put these complicated things on my main channel. But I am considering putting a version. Like also 20 minutes is really long. I mean, I know it's not long for your channel, but
Is this
20
a
minutes
prank?
is long for my channel.
That's now
Sure.
I'm.
But in
This
that
is a
video, you
prank.
explain what a logical fallacy is really well, and then use the logical fallacy and say it isn't one immediately afterwards.
Oh, yeah. So, saying the Earth is a globe, therefore we can measure a radius, and that proves the Earth is a globe. That's a logical fallacy. So you're right about that.
Yes. Then you said the same exact thing and said it wasn't a fallacy.
So, assuming the Earth is a globe and then using that to come up with a radius is not a fallacy because it's not a proof of a globe, right?
Are you
Eratosthenes
serious?
wasn't proving the Earth was a globe.
That's the problem with the fallacy,
So
Matthew. Is that when you're begging the question, the conclusion is based on the assumption. The premises have not been proven. That's the point.
So you
That's why
understand.
we're so against them.
So you understand that it is exactly as just stated, the same exact thing, but with you saying that's not a fallacy afterwards, even though it absolutely is. It assumes the premise and the outcome. So if the Earth is a sphere,
no, you're right.
If the Earth is a sphere, then I can measure the radius, and here's the radius of my sphere. That's a begging the question fallacy. Repeating it won't suddenly alter that.
You're right if you're going to say that the end statement is therefore Earth is a globe. If you're trying to prove the Earth is a globe, then that's circular reasoning. That's the begging the question fallacy. If you're saying something less than that, like if the Earth is a sphere, then here is what the radius would be. That's not proving the Earth is a globe. It's just saying what the radius would be.
Yes, that's correct. That's not proving that the Earth is a globe.
Right.
That's right. But you're still measuring it as one. Ergo, begging the question. I don't know if there's an invisible unicorn in front of me, but if I assume there is a physical, invisible unicorn in front of me, I can measure its bowel movements. Now, so long as I don't state that I'm implying there are physical unicorns, then it's perfectly acceptable for me to present the evidence of unicorn digestion. I just don't declare that I've assumed they're true. But the digestion
Now
in
you're
the imaginary
understanding.
unicorns, that's definitely worth presenting. The imaginary digestion in the imaginary beg the question of unicorns that I'm assuming are real when I measure their digestive tracts. Right? But that's not begging the question, according to you. Yes, Matthew, it absolutely is.
That's why you have to be careful about what you're stating as the conclusion.
Like,
if you state it as, if you like explicitly say, therefore I'm proving that the Earth is a sphere, then that is begging the question.
No, you don't have to conclude a begging the question fallacy for it to be a begging the question fallacy. That's incorrect. Clearly, you don't understand how fallacy works. Not stating the conclusion. The same is true for a form-based logical fallacy. You don't have to give if P then Q, Q therefore P for me to state that you are using a logical fallacy. I can conclude the fallacy for you.
And that conclusion is the part that would make it a fallacy. So
yeah, Earth being a
stop
sphere.
short of that conclusion.
Yeah, Earth being a sphere. If it's not a sphere, then the second statement about measuring radius of a sphere makes no sense, does it? But obviously, if you do assume Earth is a sphere, that's the begging the question fallacy bit, Matthew, then your conclusion will be that it's a sphere regardless, won't it, Matthew? So you don't have to state that conclusion because the conclusion is already assumed, even if it's not stated. The outcome's still the same, isn't it, Matthew? It's still begging the question even if you don't say it.
Yes.
Yes. So a large chunk of your video that you put out to a very limited audience declared that something wasn't a fallacy, then repeated the exact same thing and declared that it was.
So what would you call it then? Like if I want to say something about
a begging the question fallacy. Again, I'll try once more. I'll try once more. You asked, I'm telling you. Yeah. Saying a logical fallacy and then saying that's how a logical fallacy works. And then literally repeating the exact same thing, but not concluding with the thing that was assumed in the first instance, is still a begging the question fallacy because you've assumed the outcome, regardless of whether or not it's stated. It's automatically the outcome because it was assumed in the first instance. That's how a begging the question fallacy works. Assuming the outcome.
Do you have a suggestion of how to calculate the radius without begging the question? Like,
oh, what a beautiful question. No, Matthew. You see, that would be a very much you problem for a man with a religious sphere belief, for you to first prove that what you are actually doing is measuring a sphere. Now, given that we like these things going by on screen now, these triangles with flat baselines, these are from navigation manuals that show people how to measure and navigate Earth as flat. Not calculate it when they're measuring it, Matthew, just to be clear. But those measurements that were just on screen, they seem to infer that Earth isn't spherical in any way, shape or form, when you assume it is, and constantly suggests that you should be begging the question because you've declared what a begging the question fallacy is only to repeat it and say it isn't. And then come along and say, well, the reason I assume Earth's spherical when making angle measurements that could only be on a flat plane is because I assume Earth's spherical. But then when we're at the stage that you literally don't understand what a begging the question fallacy is because you think if you don't state the conclusion that's already been assumed doesn't make it a logical fallacy of begging the question when it does, we're struggling with you, Matthew. The comprehension isn't quite there with you yet.
So what about the things of the logical form, if X, then Y? Are those appropriate to say?
Sure, that sounds like science.
And what if X isn't true?
Then you would vary. Sorry, if X, then Y, you said.
Right.
Stop. Matthew, if you're going to put logical consistency to me, it would help if you kept the order of the logical consistency consistent. Would you be willing to do that with me? If you say if X, then Y, what if not X? You mean what if not Y? If X, then Y? Then Y? What if not then Y, you mean?
So that's a different question.
You just
I
need a
was
yes.
asking
No,
about.
no. If X, then Y. Correct? Yes, that's a suppositional statement.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I
Understand.
would state it if A, then B, when I describe the scientific method. This is a method that
Okay.
offers
So
empiricism,
A and B.
Matthew. So rather than assuming our outcome, what we can do is we can put this logical consistency, if A, then B, or if X, then Y, into a hypothesis. Now, that has another part to it. The contrapositive, the null. That's if X, not Y. They exist alongside each other in a scientific prediction. And the way you find out if one is true, that would be if X does cause Y, if X, then Y, is to vary X and see if Y happens. And if it doesn't, then your second statement, the null, zero difference result statement, if X, not Y, is automatically proven true. Ergo, the outcome is empirical. Only one can be true in those two logical statements, if X, then Y, or if X, not Y. Only one is true. Once you vary
Right.
X, you prove that Y is either going to happen or not going to happen. That's called science.
Yeah, that's a good explanation of that logical form.
Would you say that that is being done when you just assume Y?
No,
No, it isn't, is
you-
it? So there's no empiricism in you assuming this shit, is there, Matthew?
So yeah,
I just need a yes or no. I just need an affirmation. So there is no empiricism in your assumption of this shit. That would be globe Earth shit that you assume. There's no empiricism in that assumption, is there, Matthew?
There's no empiricism in that assumption.
That shit that you assume about a globe, there's no empiricism in that shit that you assume. Stop assuming that shit, Matthew. It's irritating. Yet we look for empiricism. It's a wonder that we're considered scum when we are educating people who are in universities educating others on what empiricism is. And he has to ask me about, well, what can I do if I can't beg the question that earth's my religious belief? Not my problem, Matthew. Your religious problem that you need to overcome. Maybe you could tell us, given that you think you are on a sphere, how the hell you can measure it, given that all you ever do is assume it.
I don't think that can be directly measured at all.
So in spite of your faith in the globe, you now declare quite happily there's no way to measure it. I suggest, sir, that if Earth was curving away from me at 8 inches per mile squared, I'd be able to measure it and see it. It would be bloody obvious, because it would be falling away physically at 8 inches per mile squared, and it isn't. But you think, oh, I don't know how you'd do that. Well, you'd do it with some of the inferences that automatically assume are. They'd be true. They're just not. And when we do come to measure Earth, like on screen now, it's done flat, as you've affirmed. So when we actually measure Earth, so we don't die at sea, we measure it flat. When it comes to measuring a globe, university educator, oh, but I didn't even do it. No, you can't. It's measured flat, Matthew. Earth is flat. That's why it's measured flat and navigated flat and built on flat, and all the maps are flat and triangulation's flat and areas of equal elevation are flat. It's flat. That's how it's measured and dealt with and navigated. Not globe-shaped. That's just a non-empirical assumption you make.
Furthermore, I was at the beach a couple of days ago, standing right at the shore, looking across to Jersey beyond 6 miles, also looking at the shore. And I took that time to consider, well, if there was a geometric horizon, me laying down here, then it would be 1.2 miles. But as I looked out into the ocean and all of the boats and everything beyond 1.2 miles, the conclusion that I've heard some globers make just with argumentation is that everything beyond 1.2 miles is holographic in nature or not in the actual position. But when I look out there, it most definitely just looks like, no, I'm looking at things that are. that boat is where I'm looking at it at. I don't see anything at 1.2 miles or anything weird like a change from, physical reality to something that is in another position that I shouldn't see, but is that it just it's very weird when you go to the beach and you try to consider some of the arguments that you guys have made, man. It's very weird. Not to mention seeing Jersey Shore from Coney Island in Brooklyn, beyond 6 miles away.
Hey, QE.
What's up, QE?
What'd I miss?
What is that?
Matthew. Matthew. That's what
Have you not been listening in?
You missed the funeral of Matthew Learns.
You mean the Confessions of Matthew Learns?
That can be my round out
He's a
note.
flat earther now.
There you go, one deck. You can get the last word.
I'm just saying, I was just telling QE, Matthew Learns is now a flat earther.
With that, I'm going to say, first and foremost, a huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G Plus panels for making today's live show possible. If you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow.
Why did you round out the show, Nathan? We had 110 watching. Or maybe you just really need to not have a long day.
No.
Again.
No. Leave the audience wanting more.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah, you had the chat going nuts in there. Everyone was loving it.
Yeah.
Let us in. Let us in.
Yeah, I was watching the chat
But then
after,
again,
and yes, people really enjoyed that show.
yeah, I mean, I was in the chat. It gave me a chance to just be in the chat for a little bit. And, I mean, for the small amount of time that I was in there, it was like 20, 25 concessions coming from Matthew. It's like, why are you even arguing your points anymore? At some point, it just becomes crazy.
I asked
And
this
then
the
one-
other day, in sincerity. I was like, this is a discussion point. What have the anti-flat earthers actually got? Because as it stands, all they keep doing is coming in and telling us how flat it is. So, I mean, true to form, Matthew's done the same thing, but I mean, is this really what we get from the elevation angle argument? If so, happy days! Let it continue. All they keep doing is affirming how flat it needs to be. That's what we're getting as a rebuttal. It's nuts. I can't quite... No wonder we need suppressing.
It's true. The guy came in yesterday. We got him to say, yeah, it's flat. Matthew today, it's flat.
I trimmed that out.
It is kind of like they're just losing their minds and are okay with it. Like, it makes no sense what we're saying, but we believe it and we're okay with it. Like, okay.
It's that point where you hit reality and you just can't go any further without acknowledging your belief. Now, I've heard Matthew Learns for a while now, so I know he's the type that will concede points and then just say, well, I just believe it's a globe, so it's cool. And it's like, I don't know how that checks out for you, but okay.
That's what I was saying to him, because at one point early on, it was like he's admitting it's flat. He's telling us it's flat, but then telling us it's a globe at the same time. It's like, come on, man, we're giving you the evidence. You're telling us it's flat. Just admit it's flat. Let's have it like that.
I don't know, we got pretty close. I'm pretty happy with what we did get, I'll go be honest. Yes, it's flat. Yes, it's measured flat. Yes, it has to be flat. But I don't think it is. That's fine by me. Okay. That's okay. That's good.
And then he wants to bring up height and then literally say, oh, no, they're never concerned. They're never concerned with physical height. I even quoted that in the chat. It's like, so why you bring it up? What's wrong with you guys?
Oh, that's not a straw man. It's a straw man, is it, Matthew? No, I don't think it is.
I mean, it's like the little detour they all feel they need to take. It's like, oh, let's talk about height. Who was it that did it? Was it Triangles?
What
who
angles,
actually
McKeegan?
Yeah, he started that.
started talking about height and then literally put in his video how you weren't concerned with the height. It's like, guys, get a grip, man. It's not a globe. Just stop
Do you
it.
They
think
just need to get high, man.
Sorry, guys. Do you think it's possible Matthew is sort of? I know he's done what he's done today and gone around the houses, but I think he's getting. Is it possible he does believe it's flat and he knows it's flat, but he's just got. It's just he cannot bring himself to admit it.
Oh, one of the
It's
super
No,
fighting.
that's not possible.
No, I
I was
don't
just
know.
about to say, who cares? Why do you care what his
Yeah.
motivation is?
Because he's admitted it's flat, and then he admitted it was a globe. So I'm just trying to work that out.
I don't think I admitted that it's flat. I said that that type of calculation requires it to be flat.
It's a measurement, though, isn't it? Again,
It requires the ground to be flat, but you don't think the
Right.
ground is flat. But you still
Right.
think it's
So
curved.
therefore, I think that calculation is the wrong way to do celestial navigation.
Oh,
You
right.
mean the
but
Even
measurement?
though
hold on,
that's
hold
how
on, hold on,
celestial
hold on, hold on,
navigation is done.
hold on. Matthew thinks that's the wrong way to do the methodology of celestial navigation, which is done that way.
Why
It
don't you
is done
talk us
with
through it?
Everyone
Talk
else,
us through
stop.
it from
Everyone else,
A to
stop.
Z.
Stop. Yeah, well, I just summarised what Matthew's just said. Yes, that's how it's done. I don't think it's done that way. That's essentially what he's just said. No, celestial navigation is done that way, though.
I'm saying that I don't think celestial navigation is done with right triangles.
So please enlighten us. How is it actually done then?
With parallel lines between you and the GP pointing at the star, and then using that to calculate the tilt of the Earth with respect to the GP. I can post an image if you like.
Right, where'd you get the parallel lines from? Hold on.
Yeah,
Let's start with there. Where'd you get those from? First of all, if we're starting with parallel lines, that sounds very much like something that would necessitate a flat Earth. But obviously, you haven't detailed it yet, so I won't jump to conclusions. This requires a flat Earth. It's absolutely going to. So, do you want to tell us where you get those from?
Parallel lines are an assumption based on the distance of the star, that the star is so far away that its light is parallel. It's an assumption. I posted the red lines at 25 past the hour.
So let me get it straight. So first thing we're going to do is make an assumption that you have also detailed specifically has nothing to do with celestial navigation. So you think celestial navigation's wrong because when you imply a height that is absolutely not inferred for celestial navigation, that makes celestial navigation wrong. No, that makes you a bonehead who's trying to make something that isn't used in celestial navigation part of celestial navigation when it isn't. To infer that it's wrong. No, it's not wrong. It doesn't use height. You need a height, though, do you, for your globe, after you've got the flat Earth measurements? I mean, there was me thinking that the celestial sphere was an infinite distance for you when you put a globe in the middle of it. That seems confusing. Can you explain to me why my understanding of what you will do with these flat Earth elevation angle measurements that you will measure off a flat Earth to put in the centre of an equatorial plane with a globe wrapped round it, and then a celestial sphere wrapped round that, my understanding about that batshit insane process that uses flat Earth angle measurements has an infinite distance to the stars. Am I incorrect about that, Matthew?
You're right. I'm saying that height is
Sorry,
not
stop!
important because
Stop! Infinite distance, you say?
Yes.
So, in your model, you need a infinite distance, but in celestial navigation, distance isn't used. So you mean it's not that celestial navigation requires some sort of inference for stars, your globe religion requires inference for distance to stars then? Not celestial navigation, to clarify, but you're begging the question of a globe needs this height. Correct?
Correct.
Right. That makes you a fundamentalist religious zealot who says that when I need height for my fundy sphere belief, it makes celestial navigation not right. Yes, that's right. When you impose your fundy sphere belief onto something that requires Earth to be flat, it doesn't work. But that which you have imposed on top of celestial navigation isn't celestial navigation. Celestial navigation, on the other hand, does not need the height as you do for your religion, does it?
To do celestial navigation, you do not need the height of...
So when you say it's wrong because of something to do with height, that is only in your mind how wrong your globe imposition is then. Because you have immediately gone to heights of stars, haven't you? For your globe imposition that you assume. It's a problem for you, not celestial navigation. And when I say you, I mean your globe religion, you beg the question of, not celestial navigation. It's not a problem for celestial navigation. It's you and your globe faith that needs heights that aren't needed.
No, doing the celestial navigation with globe math doesn't require the height of the star. We just assume every star is infinitely far away.
Sorry, assume a distance. It doesn't need it, but we have to assume a distance, even though it's not needed.
Right.
Why would you need to assume anything about it then? If you're saying that's called double speak, I don't need anything to do with height, but we will assume it's an infinite distance. Okay.
Right.
Stop talking. You don't need to nod through me when I point out your double speak to you. Yeah, I'm actually pointing out your double speak to my audience, Matthew. Yes, right. Yeah, that's right. You are double speaking. Yes, yeah. Again, Matthew, this is one of the reasons I appeal for your job to be taken away from you, because if you're willing to do it to my audience, you're willing to do it to the people you educate. That's why I justify asking and calling for your job to be taken away, because you do things like this. Double speak. Yes, so your religion needs heights that you can say, we don't need the height in our religion, but I'm going to assume an infinite distance. Okay, very annoying. But meanwhile, celestial fifth time. Celestial navigation doesn't need the heights. So this isn't a problem with celestial navigation. It's a problem with your inference of a globe.
Nathan.
Yeah, I'm saying we don't need the height because we assume it's infinitely far away. So we don't need a specific
that would be
height.
needing to assume a height at an infinite. Right. So we don't need to assume it because we assume it. You fucking idiot. You are so irritating.
We don't need a specific height.
Matthew,
it's a specific height. We don't need the height. Maybe if I insert the Weasley wanker word of specific. So height then. The height you don't need, and celestial navigation explicitly doesn't need it. But you don't now need the Weasley specific height. So height then. Yeah, Matthew. You don't need that in celestial navigation, and that saves lives and works on a flat plane daily. Meanwhile, your fundamentalist religious zealot belief needs you to talk about how you don't and do need height that you assume at a certain distance. Oh, but it's a specific distance. Yeah, that's the height, though, isn't it, that we're going to be assuming for your fundy globe belief. It's not a problem for celestial navigation sixth time, because it's not needed. But you immediately go to height and whether or not you're going to be doing something with it, while simultaneously telling me you don't need it.
Right, we don't need it because we assume it.
Well, that would be assuming it, wouldn't it? So doing something with it.
Shit.
Are you fucking nuts?
Yeah, he is.
Hey, you teacher. God's sake.
Nathan, hello. He just stated that celestial navigation doesn't use right angles, and he posted the photograph in Discord at 19 minutes after the hour. I put it in Master B.
We don't need the height. We just assume it.
This hand-drawn thing.
Yes, it's from the video from the naval officer, the navigator. Remember, I did a video on that, and he did a discussion. And this is one of the screenshots from it. But Matthew just said that in celestial navigation, we don't use right angle triangles. And then he posted this at 19 minutes after the hour.
This has got right angle
in Discord.
Is it like if he says it doesn't need right angle triangles, look at my citation and then just hope that nobody looks at the citation that is specifically in the center of the frame got 90 degrees written there? Is that what he was hoping?
Yeah, I posted that without context. I was posting that because George posted that a while ago during the show,
I see.
And this is showing that if you're going to use right triangles for celestial navigation,
Why would you do that? You've
then-
just said we don't use them.
I know. I don't think we do.
So
I think
when you
this is
say we don't use them, you're just a fucking nutter and wrong.
No, I think the diagram I posted is not actual celestial navigation.
Sorry,
What the
sorry.
hell?
What's the? No, it's okay. No, that's fine. Why the?
Navigation
Excuse me. Sorry. Sorry. Why the fuck are you posting it then?
So we can talk about it because George.
Why
posted it,
the
I'm curious
fuck
what
are you
think of it.
posting it if it is not about the subject we are fucking debating? You stupid retard, Matthew. We are debating celestial navigation, and you're saying the reason I want to talk about this is because it's not celestial navigation.
The reason I want to talk about it is because I think this is a accurate description of what you're saying celestial navigation is. Is that right?
Sorry, is this my video? Whose video? Sorry, is this going to be a stereotyping fallacy? This isn't mine, is it? So if you're saying
No, it's
this
not. Does
video,
it represent what you believe?
If you're saying this video represents what you say, no, I haven't even seen it. I don't know. I can't remember what this is. QE says he might have done a presentation on it. Fine. No. We are discussing celestial navigation. Now, this diagram, you're saying, represents what you say celestial navigation is. What is the source? What is it?
It's a YouTube video, like QE said, somebody describing celestial navigation.
Not somebody.
So therefore, this would be their description of celestial navigation rather than what you say. So it's also what this guy says, then.
Yeah,
Not
and my
somebody.
question to you is, do you
hold on,
think it's
QE.
accurate?
Hold on, QE. So it's not just what I say. It is widely understood, and here's another example that you have provided us that says the same thing. But you're saying he and us are wrong about what he and we also detail that is in fact the same. So we're in agreement about what celestial navigation is. He says what we say, but you say he and us are wrong. Am I right so far?
So far, yes.
Okay.
Is that it? Did you know that the person who did this video was a naval officer in charge of navigation?
Okay. So
Yes, yeah.
So we're clear. The navigation officer's video on YouTube detailing how he was qualified and paid to celestial navigate with a sextant measuring flat earth angles that include 90 as detailed on this picture now. You're saying he's wrong. They don't use 90.
I'm saying that at best he was probably not explaining it very well. I don't think he was intentionally being wrong.
God, you're an idiot.
Oh, really? Oh, right. It would have been much better if I hadn't pointed out that this isn't what I say then, because it would be now you telling me that I don't explain it very well. Okay, so did you write a letter to the naval officer explaining that he doesn't use 90s?
I didn't. So my
Why not?
question is, do
So why are
think
you
that's
telling us
accurate?
this? Sorry, excuse me. Why are you telling us this? You are challenging a naval officer's use of 90s by challenging it like it's my claim. No, this naval officer was paid to navigate and is detailing how he did that. Have you ever been paid to navigate?
No,
Have you ever used a sextant?
I have not.
What the fuck are you doing commenting on this guy's video about whether or not he's right, you stupid, arrogant prick?
I'm talking about the geometry.
Did you understand my question? What the fuck are you doing commenting on this professional about his profession when you've never even held a sextant? How dare you?
I know something about trigonometry. That's
Do you know about using a sextant at sea to navigate? He was paid to stop people dying using this method. You've never even held a sextant. And you've got the gall to challenge him? How dare you?
I know something about trigonometry.
He knows trigonometry. Well, why would you need to know trigonometry if there's no triangles?
Because I'm looking at a drawing of a triangle in his video.
No. Well,
What the hell?
the problem, the problem is we're talking about
He's not
Euclidean
doing
geometry.
trig. Isn't he doing celestial
Not-
navigation? I haven't studied this video. Isn't he not? Is he not doing celestial navigation?
He is.
Yes.
Okay.
But I'm saying, do you see the
We're not trying to show
right
off.
triangle in his image? Like it's a
Is he
right
talking
triangle.
about
The one that you
is he
say he
talking
doesn't need.
about
The
the
one that you say
height?
is wrong. The one that you say isn't there.
Right, the one that I say is wrong. I'm
that's
asking you to
silly.
look at it.
No, the one you say isn't there, it is there, making you wrong instantly.
Yeah, so the triangle has
So,
90,
sorry, for clarity then,
900
when you
mile...
say, just don't agree and then keep babbling, like you somehow get to keep the mic after you concede. Wrong, Matthew. Okay, so when you say, I think this method that uses 90 is wrong, the moment we show it using 90 from a professional who has done it and been paid to stop people dying at sea by using it, you, the man who's never held a sextant, has not really got any authority to say it doesn't use 90 when it's specifically being detailed as using 90 on screen now. That seems very unreasonable, Matthew.
Are you curious about why I think it's wrong?
No. I know it does use 90.
Yeah, it obviously uses 90. And
so when you say it doesn't, you are a fuckwit.
I'm saying it does. That's my
so
whole point.
No, Matthew, you said it doesn't. Now we're challenging you because you said it doesn't use 90, but now you're saying you do. Again, if you know who employs him, contact them, send them this video and say, this man is just a charlatan, just a shit. Why is he educating anybody? Yes, Matthew, you are currently defending the lack of use of 90. And what was your last statement? I'm saying it does use 90. So to conclude, when you stated, as you did, it does not use 90, you were a fuckwit and wrong.
I'm saying true celestial navigation does not use a 90-degree triangle.
What is this navigator detailing on screen now?
Yeah, what's on screen? Oh wait, so I'm looking at.
It's you posted it. It's celestial navigation that he's detailing. We just clarified that 3 minutes ago, Matthew. Struggling to keep up? Yes, back to the original do-si-do round the circle with a shyster. That's right, you specifically said it doesn't use 90. Here it is using 90, and it's being used in celestial navigation. That's what's being done in the video and detailed by a professional who saved people's lives by doing it. As opposed to you who says, do you want to know why it's wrong? I've never even held a sextant, but I know, trig. He's doing celestial navigation, though.
So to clarify, I say that true celestial navigation does not use right angle triangles. Therefore,
it's on screen now. There again. It's on screen now using 90. It's true celestial navigation as detailed by a navigator.
Right, and so drawing that
so double speak much, clown? Yeah, right. It does use 90. So do you want to start your sentence again for the third time saying it doesn't? Well, now you've clarified for the second time that it does.
True celestial navigation does not use right triangles, therefore.
But yeah, it's on screen now with a right triangle from a navigator.
Yeah, and so that's why it's wrong, because it has a right triangle.
So in conclusion, the navigator who is a professional is wrong, and he details it the same way as we detail it, making us also wrong, even though he's a professional paid to do this.
Right.
Okay. So have you contacted him to say he is putting lives at danger when he was paid to do this wrong?
No, I mean...
No, but I'm calling for your educator to fire you because you're teaching kids wrong and a shyster. Do you see how that works? I am calling for your job because you are a shyster. You are saying the navigator who's a professional paid to save lives is wrong because you've never held a sextant and no trig.
Well, so do you think his diagram is right?
No.
Well, given that it matches up every single book on celestial navigation I've read ever, I'm going to go with yes.
What do you mean by his method is right?
Well, it's the same method detailed in every celestial navigation book you'll read, ever.
And there's part of one in Discord right now. Matthew, you're in Discord, main text chat. Would you kindly read the citation I just put in there 30 times from Harold Jacoby, professor in astronomy, the Sextant Navigation, chapter 6. It's very short. Can you read that for everyone, please?
He says, this height of the sun or of any star in the sky is called its altitude. And so the altitude is always an angle to be measured in degrees or minutes. The point directly overhead is the zenith. The angle between the lines drawn to the horizon and the zenith is 90 degrees or a right angle.
Is Harold Jacoby also wrong? Fuckwit.
No, that's correct.
That's you being wrong.
Straight
then.
up,
So
he was right.
so
90
Matthew.
degrees, that's
So
the right angle.
Matthew, let's see how much humility you have.
Straight up from
Everyone else,
the
shut up.
horizon.
Everybody else, be quiet. So it is in fact you that are wrong when you say it doesn't use 90. It's not Harold Jacobi, us, and this professional navigator who are wrong. It's you who are wrong when you say it doesn't need 90, because it factually does, and every reference to celestial navigation will require a flat Earth with 90 at the GP of the star, ground position. You are wrong, Matthew. Not Harold Jacobi, not this navigator, not me, you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that stony silence was how much humility Matthew Learns has. He is wrong. Harold Jacobi's just demonstrated how wrong he is when he details the 90 that is required, that he says isn't. Because this, what was he called it? Special celestial navigation. Yeah, this is just celestial navigation. It needs 90. You're wrong, Matthew. You have no humility.
I posted how celestial navigation works on a globe, and there is a right angle.
So it works on a globe? How do you get a elevation angle measurement from a curved adjacent? That'd be a curved Earth.
90 degrees from the zenith would be one way. But I'm talking about the 43 past the hour.
An elevation angle measurement is what I'm talking about. How do you establish a horizontal baseline if you have a curved adjacent?
You can establish a horizontal baseline, which is 90 degrees from a plumb line. That would be the way to do it.
To the GP also at 90?
The GP is also at 90, but it's a
so the baseline isn't curved then?
The baseline between you and the GP is curved on...
So no. 90 degrees at your position plumb and 90 degrees at the ground position is not curved, Matthew. Sack him, just fire him, contact his employer, tell him he doesn't understand what 90 degrees are, he doesn't understand what triangles, he thinks that angles have curves. No, Matthew, you can't establish a horizontal baseline if you have a curved adjacent. It wouldn't be an adjacent. Matthew, Harold Jacobi isn't wrong. This navigator I've got on screen isn't wrong. And I, Nathan Oakley, the flat earther ripping your asshole through your throat, is not wrong. You are wrong. 90 is required. Introducing on a sphere when you cannot do an elevation angle measurement from a curved adjacent. That's the baseline. With 90 at the GP, we've gone through this 6 times. Matthew.
You must have a flat baseline in order to do a 90-degree right triangle.
So when you say we don't have 90, you, not Harold Jacobi, not this navigator, and not Nathan Oakley 1980, they're not wrong. You are. You do need 90 contrary to your position. Zero humility. All the more reason to rub in why he should be fired in this stony silence, because he's got no humility. Sack him. Contact his employer. Point out what a shyster he is. Use all of this. Zero humility. He's factually wrong. He's been proven wrong with a navigator and Harold Jacobi in a navigation detailed description of 90 being used. He still wants to argue 90 isn't used. He's wrong.
Right, because there's no right triangle.
He's got no humility. So he's going to give me the concession while I'm talking. Oh, go ahead. You're about to concede how wrong you were when you stated you don't need 90 off a flat Earth.
No, he's giving you an excuse.
I'm saying you don't need a right triangle. There's no right triangle.
It's on screen now. Celestial navigation absolutely requires a right angle triangle. It's on screen now from a navigator professional, and Harold Jacobi just told you. You scum. Sack him. He's scum. He's just told me what he's just read out and cited, what he posted, which is on screen now, detailing 90, doesn't need 90. Scum. Double speaker. Does. There it is.
Why are you being so ignorant?
Scum. He's just scum. He should be sacked.
Matthew.
Scum.
You just said you just said you require a flat baseline for celestial navigation. Does a globe have a flat baseline?
I'm saying you must have a flat baseline in order to use a right triangle to do celestial navigation on a flat Earth, but you don't need one to do celestial navigation on a globe. There's no right triangle on a globe.
No,
And
no,
so,
but
because we
You
don't,
can't get it on-
so therefore, in conclusion, because we do use a right triangle, it is done on a flat Earth. Then
Celestial navigation.
say again.
The
when
angle is what's
corrected,
One more
when
time, Matthew.
Earth's
How is it
Everyone
done
going,
else,
in the real
please.
world?
So, because it's using 90, that is how it's done. It is doing it on a flat Earth because that is how it's done. Now, you're saying if it doesn't use 90, that's how it would be done on a globe. Okay, you wouldn't
Right.
use 90 if it was on a globe. Yeah, but we do, don't we?
We don't use right triangles to do celestial navigation, period.
On a globe.
Who's we?
Right, we don't use right angled
Everybody.
triangles to do celestial navigation, period. On screen now, you just read it out from Harold Jacoby, you fucking cunt. You cunt. You hear me, cunt? You just fucking read it out, cunt.
You yourself said that it's times 60. You do the angle thing, and then you do times 60, right, to figure out your distance to the GP.
Minus from 90 times by 60. We're talking about the angle measurement to the GP position, and it's got 90. Your argument is you don't do 90 if it's on a globe, because you haven't got 90 on a globe. Okay, I understand your position. But we navigate and do use 90. You also said, I understand you do use 90 if it's a flat Earth. Well, we do use 90. Therefore, it is a flat Earth. Arguing for how you wouldn't use 90 if it was on a globe is also proving it isn't a globe because we do use 90. Now,
So times
saying
60.
again that period, it doesn't use 90. Yes, it does. That's why you got called a cunt, because Harold Jacoby just told you it uses 90.
So
Navigators
times
use
60 is a linear function, and trigonometric functions are not linear. Therefore, we're not using trigonometry.
And,
we're
and
not
is
using
it?
a
No,
right
we're
triangle.
not. We're doing celestial navigation.
Yeah, times
That's its
60 is
confusion
linear.
right there.
Shut up! Neil, if I have to tell you again, I'm going to eject you. Sorry, what are we doing? Are we doing celestial navigation?
Yes, if you're doing
So why'd
that,
you keep
subtract
strawmanning
the
us?
90 and
So
multiply
why'd you
times
keep
60.
strawmanning us? The performance of that process involves 90 degrees at the GP of the star. You're arguing that it doesn't because on a globe it doesn't. Yeah, but it does use 90, and you've already affirmed that is what it's doing if we're doing it on a flat Earth. Well, we are doing 90. Therefore, by your own admission, we are doing it on a flat Earth.
It is possible he keeps.
Oh, he heard me.
I think he.
I'd rather ride out the silence.
I don't have anything more to add.
Well, there's the conclusion that you haven't conceded. On a globe, no 90. On a flat Earth, 90. Which one do we actually do? 90. Just need you to concede that, Matthew.
On a globe, yeah, there's 90 degrees.
No, there isn't.
Zenith
No,
at the
wrong.
GP
No, there's no
is
90 on a globe, ever. Wrong. Bad start. No, you don't get 90 from spheres, idiot. Let's start that again. No 90 to be had on a globe. Therefore, your position to fight no 90 done in celestial navigation, period. End quote. That's what you said. Piss me off, Matthew. You're really irritating me. No 90 in celestial navigation, period. End quote. Okay.
No 90-degree triangle.
Yeah, I get it, Matthew. I know what you're claiming. Meanwhile, can't get 90 from a sphere. That's your most recent statement because you're stupid and think spheres give you 90s. They don't. But 90s do afford flat Earths. And how do we do celestial navigation as per your citation on screen from a navigator and read out by you as detailed by Harold Jacoby? 90 is used. Ergo, Earth is flat and we are using 90. Earth isn't spherical and we're not avoiding 90 at all costs because of the lack of them on a sphere. I just need you to affirm that, Matthew.
I deny that.
Why?
Because you can have 90-degree angle elevations on a globe. Anything directly above you is 90 degrees of elevation.
Right, anything. Let's just get some clarity. Anything above you is 90 degrees.
90 degrees elevation.
Anything above you is 90 degrees elevation. That is the stupidest string of words I have ever heard, Matthew.
Anything directly above you, not above you.
Yeah, that's called a zenith.
Is that what the sextant?
That's called a zenith.
Is that what the
zenith is
measures?
90 degrees elevation.
I see.
Is that what the sextant measures?
Sextant measures angles.
The sextant measures elevation angles, not directly above you, by the way. Let me ask you a question. You've said, I've heard you say this, that after you said there's no 90s, you said there is a 90 and a right angle, but no triangle. That's what you said, right?
Right, because the triangle has straight lines.
So let me ask you a question. So you've got the hypotenuse missing out of your elevation angle. Is that correct?
So what do you mean missing out of elevation angles are just two
You said
between two different
again.
lines.
Again, you said there's a 90-degree angle and a right angle. That's correct, but no triangle. How the hell can you have that? You're missing the hypotenuse,
Because,
according to you.
Yeah, the baseline's curved.
Yeah, no, not the baseline, you ignorant son of a bitch, you. You said you got a 90 and you have a right angle, but no triangle, meaning the hypotenuse must be missing. So, can you tell everyone what an elevation angle is?
It's the angle between the horizontal and some celestial object like the star, moon, or sun.
There's the hypotenuse. There's your right angle triangle.
Huey, we didn't hear a word of that. You were shouting so loud, your mic was overloading.
Holy shit. Okay, I'll be calm. This crayon muncher stated that there is a 90 after, let's just start off at the beginning. He said there are no 90-degree angles in celestial navigation. Then he changed up and he said, yes, there is a 90-degree and a right angle, but no triangle, meaning that the hypotenuse is missing from Matthew Learn's triangle. But the elevation angle is the angle between the adjacent and the hypotenuse. Is that good?
Yep.
Yeah, continue.
Yep.
Yeah, we just caught you out on your double speak. What do you mean? Yeah, continue.
The penny never drops.
It's wrong again, Matthew.
Yeah, so I posted a link. There's no right triangle in that image. There are right angles, but no right triangles.
Is that the one saying
Hold on. He's gone to the trouble. Hello.
The one that's the right angle.
Hold on. He's gone to the trouble of citing something. Can someone post it in Master B so I can at least see it?
Wait a
Thank you,
second.
Matthew.
Yes, and I already did, but he didn't answer the question there.
Is this
the double speak?
Is this triangulation surveying? Is that what from Wiki?
It's the same one. He's posting the same thing we've been talking about.
Yeah, there's no right triangle in that image. I posted it a couple times. There's no
Well,
right triangle. There is
there's
a
a
right
zenith
angle.
angle which is 90 degrees from this. Here it's depicted as a celestial horizon. So why are you saying that that's not here when it's there? Now, if you put that on AutoCAD, erase the celestial horizon line and put it directly on the Earth, guess what happens? And it's not an angle.
Hold on a second. So in this diagram, see the red bit that you've got in here, Matthew? The red angle at the top. I might be wrong with the colours. I'm colourblind.
Yeah, the red ones that say angle to reference star. Yes.
Okay, angle to reference star. Okay, so you understand how the GP has 90 below the star, right?
Right. That's the bottom of the red. It says ground position on the image.
No, ground position shows it on the sphere.
They're parallel lines, Matthew.
Sorry, hold on, Adam. Where it's labelled ground position, it says that that's on the sphere surface. That won't have 92.
Right.
That it hasn't got 92 that point, has it?
When we say 90, we mean the zenith directly overhead the ground position.
No, we mean the ground position below the star.
Right. Directly
Right.
below the
Stop.
star.
Stop. Yeah, when you concede how wrong you were, that doesn't mean you get to babble on afterwards. So 90 degree below the star, the ground position would not meet the spherical surface then to have 90. So the 90 degree you do use in celestial navigation will not be the, as labelled in this diagram, GP, because it will not be on the ground at 90, will it?
So if you have a line...
You're not answering me. Don't ask me something, Sunshine.
Yes.
I asked you a question, Sunshine. Now I want an answer. 90 will meet the ground position. Fact. That's how it's done. In this diagram, it does not meet the sphere ground, does it?
That's longer red
Don't
line,
stutter. Don't stutter. Just answer yes or no. If you say no, I'll go, that's correct. It's not a ground position on a sphere. If you say yes, it does meet the ground at 90, I'll point out how wrong you are. You just need to not so and rumpus your way past this. You need to acknowledge it. I'll say again how your globe fails when referenced to ground positions with 90 below them, Matthew. So, I'll try again. On the diagram, where there would be 90 required at the ground position, that is not afforded to you on the sphere. 90 does not meet the sphere ground, does it, Matthew?
It does. The angle of
you
that
think
line
that this here, this point here, on the ground, below where anything is labelled, that would be below the star, as I am pointing out to my audience, here on this yellow or green or whatever line, that's where it would have a 90. Below it, wouldn't, because you would have a curved adjacent, wouldn't you?
Right, that's why you can't
Right, now shut the fuck up. So, fact, I'll try again for a third time with a retard who doesn't understand basic angles and triangles. Below the GP of the star, that's the ground position. The ground position, which will have 90, will not, for the third fucking time, be meeting the ground sphere surface. Will it?
I must be misunderstanding what you're asking.
I'll explain again. The GP, ground position of the star, will have 90 below it, as detailed by Harold Jacobi. Do you understand, yes or no?
Yes.
At the ground position on this ball, it will not be 90 degrees anymore.
Why not?
Because it's curving. Are you fucking retarded, boy? Are you stupid, boy?
Are you saying
are you stupid? Are you stupid?
Between a line
curved lines don't form 90s, boy.
When a line...
Do you hearing me, boy? Sit down and shut up, boy. Curved lines don't meet 90s, do they, boy?
They do.
You think a
can make a
curved
90
line
with
makes
a
a
curved
fucking
line.
90, do you, retard? You think a curved line meeting a straight line makes... Shut up! Stupid, ignorant retard. You think a curved line meeting a straight line makes a fucking 90, do you, retard?
It can, yes.
You think a curved line meeting a straight one makes a 90? You fuckwit!
Ask any geometry professor.
They'll say no, because they're not a fucking retard.
Nathan, let's use AutoCAD. It's in Master B. Timestamped.
Access denied.
Which on what the guys over at Flat Earth Debate have been saying, we're going to use the exact same examples of the GP positions here. I'm going to look at it from an orthographic view. Okay, if we're standing here on the Earth, this is the angle to the celestial body. Let's take a line from our position, representing the horizon. The angle formed here is definitely not 90 degrees. And even at the position where it meets the Earth, you can't have a 90-degree angle to a curved surface. And AutoCAD will actually verify this, because if I choose the angular dimension command, and I pick this line and this line, it will give me an angle between them. If I try to pick this line and this arc, it says here, object selected is not a line. So it will just not give me an angle. And why would it?
Did you follow along with that, Matthew? Do you understand my disdain and outrage for your stupidity? Curved lines don't give you 90s. Not sometimes, stupid boy.
I'm a bit at a loss because I heard the audio, but I didn't see the video. But he's using AutoCAD, and AutoCAD, I don't know how AutoCAD works, I guess.
It just applies geometric principles like curved lines not giving you angles, Matthew, like I tried to disseminate to you, and you told me sometimes. No, you're just stupid.
AutoCAD just told you to fuck yourself.
You're just stupid, Matthew.
So we want you to bring those trigonometry professors in here.
No, don't try and get him to hurl other professionals like the navigator under the bus. No. No, this is just Matthew, hence me asking for him to be sacked. No longer be in a position to educate anybody, because he's fundamentally retarded. He's challenged the fact that 90s can't meet curved surfaces. I've asked him on his own diagram where you get the 90 he read out from Harold Jacobi is required, and how it will not form 90 at the base on the sphere surface. Yeah, meaning it fails. I didn't ever get to make my conclusory point because he couldn't concede he's got no humility. Meanwhile, we've had somebody else do it in AutoCAD, and he's still like, oh, maybe the AutoCAD's wrong. Everybody's wrong but him. Right, Matthew? The AutoCAD's wrong, the navigator's wrong, Harold Jacobi's wrong, we're wrong. It's only you that's right, dick.
Then he said, you can ask any trigonometry professor about the 90 at a curved surface. That's what he said that. That's why I was on it.
Well, maybe if we do, if we ask somebody who's in authority, in other words, in a higher position in the education structure than you, if you're right and you're wrong, will you resign?
Well, yeah, if I'm wrong, I definitely resign.
So if I can get somebody who's professional and understands this stuff to explain that you cannot have 90 meeting a curved surface, you'll resign.
Yes. To be clear, you're saying that a line, you're saying that it's impossible for a line to intersect a sphere at a 90-degree angle. That's what we're saying.
That's not what he said.
Not what I said. What a fucking slippery cunt of a wanker. What a shyster.
Let's
fucking shyster.
precise.
What a fucking shyster.
Precise.
What a fucking shyster.
I'm asking you to be precise.
Stuttering is what you're doing, Matthew. You're stuttering because I'm calling you out as a shyster while you demonstrate your shyster-like behaviour. Did you think you could repackage what I asked you for? No. With the diagram you sent, I asked you about whether or not you could have at the surface of the sphere 90 degrees meeting it. You said yes.
Yes, that's my answer.
Yeah. Now I'm saying if I can get somebody to unequivocally demonstrate to you in a position of authority that understands this stuff, that no, you cannot acquire 90 from a curve. that you'll resign. You've said yes.
Yes, of course.
You think you can get 90 from a curve? Not to a curve, from a curve. Just to be sure. Say it that way.
Yeah, we could be precise and say something like, I could give you an equation of a sphere and an equation of a line, and then we can determine if it meets the sphere at a 90-degree angle. So I can give you an
we're not
equation.
talking about creating a tangent.
No, we're not creating a tangent to the sphere you assume. That's not what we asked you. No. Did
Yeah,
we
not a
ask you?
tangent.
Sorry, Matthew. We didn't ask you to employ your begging the question fallacy here. What the fuck is wrong with you? Did you not understand earlier when I told you we don't beg the question here?
So let's get the question right. He's saying that you can get a 90-degree from a curve between a curved adjacent and the opposite. Correct?
Yep, that's what he's saying.
Yes, Matthew? Matthew, yes?
Not a curved adjacent. I'm talking about a angle.
What the fuck?
Yeah, a 90-degree. Yes, a 90-degree angle. You're saying you can acquire that from the curved adjacent. Why are you hesitating?
Really,
Hold on a minute. A minute ago, you were prepared to put your job on this. Now you don't seem to be answering me.
Okay, I was typing in two equations, and my claim is that the angle where those two geometric objects meet is a right angle, 90 degrees. One is a sphere, one is a line. So I'm being very
sorry,
specific.
Matthew. These geometric. We're talking about stars. Your diagram had a star in it. Sorry, Matthew.
Yeah, so I'm trying to be precise about geometric objects.
We just go back to your diagram. That's what I was quizzing you on when we got to you putting your job on the line for it. The diagram. You were following me along with the different colours of lines. You definitely knew what I was talking about. Yeah.
I was simplifying.
The base of the triangle, the one that you said we don't have, that aside, that's going to be 90 degrees at the GP of the star. You confirmed. Yes.
Right.
Harold Jacobi said it. Yes. I said that is not 90 degree to the sphere surface. You said, yes, sometimes it is. I said, are you prepared to put your job on it? You said yes.
Yes, of course.
Okay. So, therefore, 90 degree at the ground position will be meeting a curved adjacent. Okay.
At that point, yes. Uh-huh.
Okay. So we just need to get somebody in authority to confirm to you that 90 degrees isn't possible, and you will resign.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Okay, we'll see how we get on, Matthew. And when we achieve it, I will expect your resignation. And if you don't give it, I will submit this to your superiors.
I'm confident enough in my understanding of mathematics to put my job on the line to say that it's possible to get a 90 degree between a line and a sphere. That's just basic, simple stuff.
You double speaker, that's not what's being put to you. So you're not accepting the challenge.
No, he's not.
And you're doing this in a disingenuous way by
thing. What are you
changing
talking
No, now
the
he's going to
challenge
talk to you, Adam.
prepared to accept.
Yeah, you pointing out how
very-
disingenuous he's being requires him to talk through you, so that hopefully it won't be heard. You pointing out how disingenuous he is, so he started talking through you immediately.
Say it again, Adam.
It appears to me that you're rejecting the challenge because the thing you're prepared to accept is something that you've just changed, which fundamentally is doable. Of course, you'd accept that if you're going to change the challenge. So you're a coward. At least have the guts to say, no, I don't have.
State it in the way that, go ahead and state it in the
I'll do
way.
it again.
clearly
No
that
worries. I've done it
want
with you.
us to
You
do.
followed along the first two times. Here, the star being measured from this position off a spherical surface in your diagram. According to Harold Jacobi and confirmed by you, this is the fourth time we have done this. That ground position meets the ground at 90. You have affirmed. I say,
yes.
Well, then it can't meet the sphere surface at 90. You say it can.
It can.
Okay. Therefore, if we prove with somebody in authority that you cannot have 90 degrees to a curved adjacent, you will resign.
Yes.
Okay. Then we are all clear.
You think that somebody is going to agree with you? Like some math guy is going to agree with
I
you?
guess we'll find out.
Not agree, you crayon muncher.
You
Not
cannot get.
agree.
You,
This
you
is
can't,
basic fucking geometry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. No, you're clearly confident that we won't find somebody and your job is safe.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, well, we'll see how we get on, won't we? I'm sure you're very confident.
Yep.
Start packing your bags, crayon muncher.
Okay. With that, I'm going to say another huge, massive, enormous thank you to both Discord and G+ panels for making today's after show possible. And of course, a massive thank you to all of you in either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams for hopefully smashing the super chat, liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, hit me up on PayPal, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!